Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Saturday, March 29th, 2025, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App $ ORION NWSF or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got some MLB action this Saturday evening. The Athletics versus the Seattle Mariners. First pitch is going to be here in roughly 5 minutes. So let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get settled in for some Mariner baseball. Let's get it. And on the thumb, on the left, one of the individuals that helped the A's beat the Mariners yesterday, 7-0, Lawrence Butler. And on the right, you know what time it is. It's Miller time. Bryce Miller. Let's go, baby. I can't wait. And now let's get into the starting lineups here first for the visiting Athletics. Leading off for the A's in right field, Lawrence Butler. Batting second, the hero yesterday, DHing Brent Rooker. Batting third, playing center field for the Athletics, JJ Bleday. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, catching tonight for the Athletics, Jay Langeliers. Batting fifth, playing first base, Tyler Soderstrom. Batting sixth, playing left field, Miguel Andujar. Batting seventh, the former Mariner that went yard yesterday, third baseman, Luis Urias. Batting eighth, playing second base, who homered yesterday as well, Max Muncy. And batting ninth, playing shortstop for the A's, Jacob Wilson. And on the mound for the Athletics, a promising prospect, Osvaldo Bido. I see you, Bido. And now let's get into the starting lineups for your Seattle Mariners. We need payback from yesterday. A little bit more like game number one, not like game number two. Leading off for the Mariners in right field, I need to see some bunts laid down, Victor Robles. Batting second, playing center field, Julio Rodriguez. We need you to step up. It's been pretty quiet from you in the first two games. Let's go, J-Rod. Batting third, catching tonight for the Mariners, off of the stomach bug and the food poisoning that he had a couple days ago. I expect big things tonight. Big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Batting cleanup, batting fourth tonight, left fielder Randy Arozarena. Batting fifth, DHing tonight for the M's, Luke Raley. Batting sixth, playing third base, the best player on the Mariners so far in 2025, Jorge Polanco. Let's go, Polo. Batting seventh, playing first base, Rowdy Tellez. Batting eighth, playing second base, Ryan Bliss. And batting ninth, playing shortstop for the Mariners, J.P. Crawford. And on the mound for the Mariners, it is Miller time. Bryce Miller. Let's go, baby. Can't wait. And we'll be shooting for 20 likes within the first hour, 30 to 50 if we get the volume, and obviously 100 in the donos on every single stream. Game one, we got down, obviously 2-1, tied it up with a Randy Homer 2-2 and a Polo 2-run jack to win 4-2. Yesterday was a very poor performance, and anytime it seems like we get left-handed pitching, the lineup isn't as good, and obviously Pitching struggled, to say the least. We got mollywhopped, we got spanked, we got kicked, we got punched, we got beat down. We lost 7-0, and I expect a better effort here today with Bryce Miller on the mound. And tomorrow we have Brian Wu. Let's win these last 2 games and win this series. Let's get it. Jason in the building, what's good? David in the building, what's good? Sarah in the building, what's good? Let's get to 100 in donos. Let's do that. And again, if you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Let's go. Yeah, I ended up watching a good chunk of that Yankee game, and the way that they started off that game was crazy. 3 pitches, 3 home runs. That is not something that you typically see. And Aaron Judge with 3 homers. Again, there's a reason why I have some Aaron Judge memorabilia. And today is one of those days where you can see the value of his rookie cards and his memorabilia going up. What a stud. And again, the Yankees are going to miss Juan Soto. But for the time being, with the guys they brought in late last year, Jazz Chisholm, and obviously bringing in Cody Bellinger and Paul Goldschmidt from your Cardinals, it's starting to look like, they're still going to miss Soto. Let's not, displace that fact. That's a big move for the Mets. The Mets will be better with him on the roster. But if Goldschmidt and Bellinger can combined give you Soto stats, then you're going to be okay. And so far, it's looking pretty good. Brett in the building, how are you? How was Monster Jam with your son Colton? Hopefully it was good. Jacob in the building, what's good? Oh, J-Ram got hurt. Uh-oh, how bad is it? That's tough. Hopefully Jose Ramirez will be okay. And we got Duke up 40-31 on Bama, and Florida won 84-79 against Texas Tech. And you're definitely getting a lot of the high seeds winning. And we might end up having all 1 seeds, advancing. We will find out if that will be the case. All right, Bryce Miller on the mound, and we need good pitching here today, and they're starting it off with their guy, Lawrence Butler. First pitch, inside, about a couple feet off, they're off the plate, 1-0 count, and hopefully we don't have too many walks. Bryce really isn't known for those, not as much maybe as like a George Kirby, who really isn't known for walks, but I'm hoping that he can breathe the heat, but he can also bring that location as well. Second pitch, crushed foul. 1 ball and 1 strike to Lawrence Butler. Hope everyone is having a fantastic Saturday, and I can't wait for tomorrow as well. Top of the first, 0-0 A's and Mariners. 1-1 pitch right down the middle with some heat for Bryce Miller. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Keep bringing those heat. Keep bringing the heat. We need it. One-two pitch for Miller to Butler. Popped up, fading, foul. Let's go, Bryce. And we have a lot more confidence as Mariner fans in Bryce Miller and Brian Wu, George Kirby and Logan Gilbert. Not a lot of confidence in Luis Castillo, Emerson Hancock, and a lot of those guys in the bullpen you saw yesterday. Slow dribbler, throw to first, 1 away. There we go. But again, Sauce shouldn't even be on the team. Bizzardo, not very good. And again, Trent Thornton struggled, in the previous game. We need to really figure out who those mid-reliever guys are going to be. And hopefully at some point we can have a healthy Matt Brash, right? Then we can end up having, Gregory Santos, who probably should have pitched more than 1 inning yesterday, right? Then get Troy Taylor healthy, and then Andres Munoz. But until we end up having that strong 4 and we have to start filling in, we're in trouble. Next up is Brent Rooker. Rooker popped up on the first pitch, fading into foul territory. There we go. Rowdy Tellez says, I got it. 2 away. And that's a good sign. We don't want Rooker to get hot early, but we know it's not how you start, it's how you finish, and Rooker is deadly. 2 away. Next up is center fielder J.J. Bleday. Top of the first, 2 outs. Miller looking good. First pitch. Blade crushes that one towards third base. Fading. Foul. Little slow roll dribbler. There we go. Flip from Bryce Miller to Rowdy Tellez. An easy 1-2-3 inning. I love that. Nice job by Bryce. And again, I like guys that can throw the heater. And that's going to be Bryce Miller and Brian Wu. Logan Gilbert isn't going to throw as much of the heat, but he does everything really, really well. He's just like a very, very good pitcher with location and speed, but it's not going to be top-end speed, and George Kirby is more of a location guy like Greg Maddux. So it's kind of interesting to see how, we have a very dominant top three, starting five in our pitching staff, but everyone is a little bit different. Logan Gilbert isn't maybe elite at anything, but he's just really, really good at everything, right? George Kirby isn't going to give you that 100 miles an hour, but he gives you location. And obviously it's very strategic like a Greg Maddux, which is awesome. The closest the pitchers are on the starting five are Miller and Wu. They're the ones that give you the heat. Sometimes they lose a little bit of control, but most of the time that top-end heat will even itself out. And then obviously Luis Castillo, kind of an aging guy with Emerson Hancock, where you just really don't know what you're getting from each individual start. That is big facts. All right, let's get into the lineup here for the Seattle Mariners. Leading off for the Mariners in right field, Victor Robles. And I had to switch up a few of the photos in the starting lineup, especially after that bad juju last night, losing 7-0. We needed a change and some new photos. Batting second, center fielder, Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, J-Rod. We need the top of this order to be good. And batting third, it's big dumper, catcher Cal Raleigh. And again, when Victor Robles gets going early and he gets on base on his first at-bat, not only does that give us a better chance to win, but it gives us a better chance to be able to get runs in the first inning or two. The momentum surges when Victor Robles gets on with a bunt, a single, a double, a home run, because that carries over to Julio, Cal, Randy, and everyone else that's in the lineup. So hopefully we can get something going here with Victor Robles, and I feel that he will. Again, it's been a little quiet the first couple days. He's not going to start off with a bunt here. And Robles on the first pitch, crushes it all the way back to left field, almost hits a homer. Go, go, go. There we go. Hell yeah, stand up double for Victor Robles. Let's go. Exactly what I wanted to see, and maybe we'll even get a bunt at some point in the game. Fuck yes. Let's go. Next up is Julio Rodriguez. And again, the chances of Julio having a good game after Victor gets on base and following suit is very highly likely. Again, when they struggle together. When they play well together. Let's see what we get here out of J-Rod. We already got a runner in scoring position early on Osvaldo Bido, and he hits Julio. Ooh. Got him in the ribs, slightly, maybe even on the elbow or the arm. I hope he's okay. I don't know what Osvaldo Bido is thinking right there. He ain't going to fight you, but you got Julio slunched over. Let's take a quick replay here. Oh, just right into the ribs. Holy fuck. Hope he's okay. I thought it got him on the elbow, but just straight in the chest and the ribs. That's got to hurt. Now we got runners at first and second, and we should be able to get at least a run here today, but Julio looks like he is in pain. Taking his sweet time to first, which he should. Not ideally what you want to see on your first pitch, getting hit in the ribs, or in the stomach, with a 90 to 100 mile fastball coming at you. I don't think Osvaldo Bido is a dirty pitcher, so it's not like we're going to, retaliate, so to speak. At least I don't think we will, but you never know. Just looked like he lost a little bit of control, but sometimes it's tough with these pitchers. Great start, besides Julio almost getting injured. Got runners at first and second. Next up is big dumper, Cal Raleigh. And it would be amazing if we could end up getting an RBI here, or even something great like a 3-run blast. We'll take that. First pitch to Cal Raleigh. Pitch is low and into the dirt, and it seems like Beto is a little wild with his approach so far. 1-0 count. Robles at second with the double. Almost hit a home run about a foot off on a first pitch strike, which wasn't really working for him, swinging at that first pitch strike in the first 2 games, but he finally catches Beto in game 3, and Julio got hit in the ribs, and he's on first base. Pitch is high and outside. 2-0 count to Big Dumper. I like the way that this game is going so far. I think that this is going to be a 4 runs or more type of day for the Mariners, especially getting a 0 yesterday. It might end up being a blowout. Let's go, baby. 2-0 count for Cal. Pitch is outside. 3-0 count. Let's see if he ends up getting the green light, but I don't think Beto can hit the strike zone. At this point, I would just say, fuck it. Don't even swing. Let's just see if he can actually hit the strike zone here. Let's go, Big Dumper. Be patient in the box. And pitches outside. Oh, just on the corner. I don't know if that was a strike. That looked like it was just outside of the strike zone, but, I don't mind Cal taking that pitch. 3-1 count. And even if he's got the green light, Beto doesn't have the strike zone. Pitches inside, and that's a walk, baby. Bases loaded for the Mariners. This is much better of a start than we had yesterday. Robles almost hits a home run. He gets a double. Julio gets a hit in the ribs. He goes to first. Now you got guys at first and second. Now, with Cal Raleigh and that walk, we got guys at first, second, and third with no outs. Now, hopefully the Mariners don't fumble the bag and get nothing out of this. Again, I don't want to say what could happen in a negative light, but hopefully we can make our way here with at least a run or 2 in this first inning. Let's go. Next up is Randy Arozarena. I had to get a new photo of him after that big blast he had in game 1 to tie it up. Let's go, Randy. 219 average, 20 homers last season. He can be much better than that here. Randy takes a pitch down out of the zone. 1 ball and 1 strike with bases loaded and no outs. Let's go. Bottom of the first, 0-0, Athletics and Mariners. 1-1 count from Osvaldo Beto to Randy Arozarena. Right back up the middle. Wow, what a catch by Muncy. Steps on the bag. Unbelievable. I was not expecting a double play in that regard. It's one thing when you hit into like a grounder and then they flip it for that double play, but Randy just couldn't get it over Muncy's head. He catches it with a very athletic play and obviously taps second for a cheap double play. Damn it, Randy. Come on now. Next up is Luke Raley. We need some nukes. We have to be able to get at least something out of this. Bases loaded with no outs. They get a lucky double play. Now we got guys on first and third with 2 outs. Please, Luke. Come on now. Big swing and a miss. Finding the count 0-1. Appreciate that, Adam. I've been doing this for quite some time, so not my first rodeo. Runners on the corners with 2 outs. 0-1 pitch from Beto to Raley. Pitch is high and out of the zone. 1 ball and 1 strike to Luke Raley. Yeah, 7-0 yesterday. Big swing and a miss. Behind in the count, 1-2. Primo in the building. What's good, brother? But again, we've had plenty of times, pitches low and into the dirt, 2 balls and 2 strikes where, all right, we got a stolen base there. But again, when you end up having bases loaded and no outs or 1 out, you expect 1 or 2 runs, but sometimes you end up with nothing. And if that ends up happening here, hopefully it's not very many times where we, end up, leaving guys stranded and kind of screwing ourselves with double plays. So we'll see how it goes here. 2-2 pitch from Beto. Big swing and a miss, and Beto gets Raley. And with bases loaded and no outs, we end up getting nothing. Terrible. But again, I know, this is kind of, I don't want to say this is what the Mariners do, but again, we are kind of known, as a team that struggles from time to time with hitting. But again, with the start that we had, Victor Robles almost hitting a home run, getting a stand-up double. Julio getting hit in the ribs, but didn't exit the game. You know, we get to first, right? Then you got first and second. Then you end up getting a walk for Cal Raleigh, bases loaded. And then Randy, unfortunately, hit into that double play. But, you know, I still think that we're going to have a very good chance to be able to recover. Sexy. Natman in the building. What's good? Come on, Ems. All right, let's see who's up next here as we go to the top of the second. You know, just our luck that something like that would happen, but I still have good faith that we can get 4 runs or more, and we're going to have a bounce-back game from yesterday. We're not going to lose 7-0, especially with Miller on the mound. We got to make sure that he is solid here today, and I feel he will be. Next up for the Athletics, catcher Shea Langoliers. Batting second, first baseman who homered twice in opening day, Tyler Soderstrom. And batting third, playing left field for the A's, Miguel Andujar. Let's go, Ems. I don't want to see any more bases loaded, no outs with nothing. We should have gotten at least 1 run in that, inning, but hopefully Julio is okay. That's more important, especially when you take 90 to 100 to the ribs. Odin in the building. What's good? Natman in the building. What's good? First pitch to Langoliers, outside of the zone, 1-0 count. Come on, Bryce. We need a strong outing today. And I put them on the thumb for a reason, you know. I'm only going to put certain individuals on there. That one crushed, fading, foul. Supercross is in Seattle. Nice. I worked an event, years ago for, like the Supercross championships. I don't know if it's in like Washougal. I think that's where I had to drive, but I worked the event, where it was like brand new trucks. And then I just kind of drove in a big loop and picked people up, and they just hopped in the back of these brand new trucks. And then I would just kind of, give them a lift to the top of the hill so they could see the event, and help people out and whatnot. And, the money was good for the event, got to meet a lot of cool people, and it's a cool place out there. I'm not sure if that's where that particular event is, but it's a beautiful place out there in Washougal if you like that type of racing. Two-two pitch from Miller to Langoliers. Langoliers crushes that one. Back. And Julio is there. No fly zone. 1 away. Thank God. Nice job, Julio. Nice job, J-Rod. We need you out there in the outfield making plays. Nice job. Next up for the Athletics, first baseman Tyler Soderstrom. 2 homers on opening day. Got to be very careful how you pitch to Tyler. Pitch is low on the corner. 1-0 count. Oh, that's tough. That's tough. Padres and Braves are, that's a tough matchup to start off the year because both teams are good. Pitch out of the zone. 1 ball and 1 strike to Tyler Soderstrom. Come on, Bryce. Pitch is low and into the dirt. 2 balls and 1 strike. That was Monster Jam, Britt. Did you enjoy it? I know it's something that you do with your son, pretty much every year. Two-one pitch. Pitch in the zone for a strike. Soderstrom looking. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Big swing and a miss. Big punch out there. It's Miller time, baby. Nice job, Bryce. First K of the night, and that pitch was nasty. Way to bring that electricity. Let's go. Knuckle curve, baby. Next up is left fielder Miguel Andujar. Top of the second, we're still knotted up at 0. First pitch in there for a strike to Miguel. 0-1 count. Oh, good. No drunk guy this year. That's always good, where it's more enjoyable. Nothing is worse than getting like a drunk male or female that's sitting in front of you or next to you or behind you, and they just won't shut up, and it just ruins it, for everyone that's around in that area. When I went to the Mariner game against the Orioles on the 4th of July, I had a guy, that was behind us. I think he snuck down to the seats behind us. And, he was like trying to box me out, for like different like foul ball opportunities. I've never had anyone do that before. But of course, this guy was drunk and being kind of, a nuisance and whatnot. So, it is what it is. But I didn't let him ruin, our particular memory. And we ended up getting the dub as the game went along. But nothing is worse when you get, someone that's like that, they don't realize, how drunk they are and that they're ruining, a good experience for the people around them. But that's always good when you can actually just sit back and enjoy whatever it is, Monster Jam, MLB, or whatever it may be. Pitch is outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes from Bryce Miller to Miguel Andujar. I mean, there's a difference between being a fun drunk and, everyone just getting along and just being obnoxious, Line drive, throw to first. There we go. 6 up and 6 down. Let's go to the bottom of the second inning, and hopefully we don't get bases loaded again and get nothing. Just kind of bad luck with that hit ball by Randy Arozarena, because normally when you hit into a double play, 9 times out of 10, what is it? A ground ball. Then it gets flipped to second, and then they throw it to first, and then you get your double play. But this last one that we had in the first inning, he jumped up and caught it, off this kind of, line drive, and it went over the pitcher's head, so Bryce couldn't get it, but it didn't go as far into the outfield, and he was able to jump up Muncie and make the play and then run to second base and tap on it. So it's not a normal kind of double play. You see him once in a while. Just kind of bad luck for Seattle. But again, I think that we're going to respond hopefully in the next couple innings. I'm hoping. See who's up next for the Mariners. Next up for the Mariners, third baseman, the best player in 2025 for Seattle so far, Jorge Polanco. Batting second this inning, first baseman, Rowdy Tellez. And batting third, second baseman, Ryan Bliss. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 20 within the first hour. That way we can shoot for 30 to 50 likes and then maybe hit the algorithm. And obviously we'll be shooting for 100 in the donos on every single stream. Captain in the building, what's good? Yeah, unfortunately, as I was getting ready too, I have one of my, kind of photography lights. You have these different types of lightings that you have to have throughout the room to be able to have enough light to make the stream look good. And it caught my foot and it totally ripped out the wires from the actual light piece. Luckily, I had a backup. Just in case that would happen. So now I'm going to have to probably, move some things around so that way I don't trip over him because I got wires and everything fucking everywhere. But sometimes shit happens, but I'm happy that I have a backup here. First pitch, that one fading, foul. Behind in the count, 0-2, not 0-1. Come on, Polo, let's go. 0-2 pitch from Osvaldo Bido, and in the zone, Polo strikes out looking. One away. And we won't hate on Osvaldo Bido. I'll give him some love. Nice punch out there by Bido, but hopefully we don't see too many of those. Next up is Rowdy Tellez. We like these guys that are like Jared Vogelback, Carlos Santana, Mike Ford, and Rowdy Tellez fits the mold. Tellez pulls it. There we go. Right over the shortstop, Urias, the former Mariner, and Rowdy is either going to typically get a home run or strike out, obviously being, pretty big, big arms, big legs, and you don't assume that he'll get a lot of singles, but that was a nice one where he pulled it and just over Luis's head. We'll take a single. Nice job, Rowdy. We'll take that. Next up, second baseman, Ryan Bliss. Let's go, Ryan. Bido, first pitch to Bliss is outside at the knees. 1-0 count. Bliss, line drive. There we go. Same spot right next to Luis. Now we got runners at first and second. Much better approach, in this game. Obviously in game one and game two, it took us a while. Almost until starting pitching went out to try to get some fucking hits. Yesterday we couldn't do anything, but in game one, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. But we're getting a lot of more quality hits early on, but we need to get these guys home, and hopefully JP Crawford next up will be a part of that. Come on, baby. We had bases loaded in the first and got nothing with no outs. We can't have that happen again, or even bases loaded with 1 out. We have to get at least a run. It's not like, we're a team that scores, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the regular. We got to shoot for 4 or 5 runs, every game to win. And if we end up getting 1 to 3 runs, we typically don't have a very good record when that happens, at least in years past. We'll see about this year. 0-1 pitch, JP Crawford crushes that one. Fading, foul. Behind in the count, 0-2. Come on, JP. Grind it out, baby. And then if someone in the room, Sarah, if you can handle the likes as well, I would appreciate that, unless someone else on the mod side wants to handle the likes for you. But if we can get likes and donos, and keep track of those, that would be great. Check swing. JP Crawford still behind the count, 0-2. And we'll get into the scores of March Madness, as well as the other games that happened earlier today. Just like the Yankees going crazy. Anytime the Yankees, start hitting home runs at will, it's going to be a big day. JP back, all the way to the warning track, caught. And we got Rowdy tagging up, even though he's slow as shit. Makes it to third base. And we got guys at second and third now with 2 away. And now we got Victor Robles up. And hopefully Victor, obviously he likes to swing on first pitch strikes. He did, obviously, in game 1 and game 2, and really wasn't that successful. Did it here against Osvaldo Bido and almost hit a home run at his first at-bat, about a foot from missing a homer, and got a stand-up double. We'll see what we can get here today. Appreciate that, Nat, man. Appreciate you, Odin. Bottom of the second, 0-0. Runners at first and third on the corners with 2 outs. First pitch to Robles, big swing and a miss, behind in the count, 0-1. And he's 1 for 1 with a double in the first. Captain with a 5-er, appreciate you. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. There we go, wild throw to second. Go. And Rowdy Tellez scores off the wild throw to second base. 1-0 Mariners. Great timing for Captain, as well as Reflect. Let's go, baby. I mean, that kind of makes up for having bases loaded with no outs and not getting anything. Again, maybe we can get another one to make up for what happened in that first inning. We'll take that. And we know Rowdy is kind of slow, so, thank God that he was able to get there. There we go. Reflect with a fiber. Appreciate you. Stacks on stacks. Racks on racks. Little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. We're at 10. 90 to go to hit the goal. Appreciate you guys. Go M's. Bottom of the second. 1-0 Mariners. 2 outs. Runner at third. 0-1 count to Victor Robles. Let's go, Victor. Let's go, M's. Robles crushes that one. Fading foul. One-two pitch. Pitch is high, out of the zone. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And we normally don't have the Mariner Moose come out when we're winning, but hell, we need all the luck that we can get after losing 7-0 yesterday. Bizzardo didn't look good. Sauce looked terrible. Our mid-relievers are a big problem until we can get to the point where we have Brash, and then we can go from Brash to who? Santos to Taylor to obviously our guy, Andres Munoz. But for all the others that we have to sprinkle in, definitely makes me nervous. Count is full now to Victor Robles. 3-2 pitch from Osvaldo Bido. Popped up. Robles should be a routine play for the Athletics, and it is. We leave one stranded, but we get one. So at least we get some damage based off the wild throw from Shea Langoliers, and we're up 1-0. Hell of a lot better than yesterday. Bye-bye. And anything that you want to see photo-wise, Captain and Reflect, let me know, and I got you. We're at 10, 90 to go. Yeah, sour sauce. Man, it was bad. Let's see who's up next for the Athletics in the top of the third. Next up for the Athletics in the top of the third, the former Mariner from last year. He homered yesterday, obviously in an Athletic debut in 2025, third baseman Luis Urias. Batting second baseman who homered in his first, game in the major leagues, right? Getting a home run, obviously, in his second game. Now he's in his third, Max Muncy. And batting third, shortstop, Jacob Wilson. Let's go, M's. And you know what time it is. It's Miller time. Let's go, Bryce. And we got Brian Wu on the mound tomorrow. So I like our chances not only winning today, winning tomorrow, and winning the series. And the Martinville race with that short track has been pretty fun to watch, for the Craftsman's Truck Series and the Xfinity Series that was on earlier today. And, we have been doing quite a bit of the cup racing. So I have a decision to make. Brian Wu is one of my favorite players on the team. I still want to be able to sprinkle in, some Monday Night Raws and some NASCAR Cup Series. But again, when the Mariners are playing or when the Ducks are playing, they definitely take priority. So more than likely, I'll be doing the Mariner game tomorrow. But, I will be covering the race at the same time. Because, again, I think the race starts at noon and then the Mariner game will be at 1. So they'll be on roughly at the same time. But then if we get to a point where obviously the Mariners are off on a Sunday, then obviously we'll get back and do cup racing. First pitch to Luis Urias is fouled off in the top of the third, behind in the count 0-1. I told you, I call it how I see it, bro. He shouldn't even be the 2. He shouldn't have even been opening day starter the last couple years. He's literally the worst pitcher in the starting 5. But with Kirby out, the only one that he's better than is Emerson Hancock. Hancock is terrible. Castillo is unreliable. Every once in a while, Luis will have a good game, but when will that be? It's like 1 out of every 3 to 4 games is good. That's not, worth being second, in the rotation.
You know, if we're really being honest, you know, you got Gilbert, you got Kirby, you got Miller, you got Wu. But I really think that, you know, depending on the run support and, you know, how Miller and Wu vibe this year, I think Miller and Wu have a very good chance to match Kirby and Gilbert's production. And it wouldn't really surprise me, out of the four main guys that we have, that, you know, Miller and Wu might even be better than Kirby this year, you know, because if Kirby's shoulder keeps getting kind of, you know, inflammation and whatnot, and, you know, he's got injuries, he might struggle a little bit this year. Nice little single there from Luis Urias, and he is on board. And I hope George Kirby has a good year, but I mean, if I had to take a guess, you know, if there was a guy between Gilbert, Kirby, Miller, and Wu, I would assume, you know, there's a chance that Kirby could be fourth in that group when normally he's first or second with Logan Gilbert. But again, it shows you how talented that we really are. You know, Logan Gilbert does everything great, you know, really, really good, right? You get the top end heat, right, from Miller and Wu. And then obviously you get the location guy in George Kirby. Next up is Jacob Wilson. We definitely need a double play here. We're up 1-0, top of the third. Runner at first with one out. 27 pitches in here for Bryce Miller, looking pretty strong so far. Would love a double play here. And I don't know if I'm the only one as well. We know that typically, you know, Gilbert and Kirby are, you know, the two best. You know, they're typically top 10 pitchers, you know, overall. You know, they're very, very solid. You know, but with that being said, as far as like fan favorites, I feel that like Miller and Wu, their fan base is starting to kind of catch up, you know, to Gilbert and Kirby, if not surpass those guys. You know, we love everyone, you know, but I feel like Bryce has got that swag. So does Brian Wu. Not saying that Gilbert and Kirby don't, but their approach to the game is a little bit different. Double play, throw to first. Got him. There we go. Nice double play by the Mariners there. Nice job, Bliss. Nice job, JP. Nice job, Rowdy Tellez. There we go. Get some Bryce Miller photos up here for you. Appreciate you. You know, I mean, maybe it's just like, you know, guys that can throw heaters and whatnot, because like Gilbert really doesn't throw the top end heat. You know, Kirby's more of a location guy like Greg Maddux. And then Miller and Wu can, you know, give you that 95 to 100 miles an hour heat. And, you know, sometimes they fuck up. But, you know, there's something exciting about their energy and their aura and their vibe compared to Gilbert and Kirby. And I don't want to say Gilbert and Kirby are, they're really, really good pitchers. And I don't want to say that they're boring, but they don't have the same type of, I think, aura or swagger as Miller and Wu, as the young guys, you know. And pretty soon, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if you get Miller and Wu to catch up and maybe at one point surpass Gilbert and Kirby. And if that ends up happening, then we're definitely going to have like the best pitching staff in baseball if those two guys can catch up, you know, to obviously Gilbert and George Kirby. You know, because again, we have four solid guys like that. Then at some point we got to figure out, you know, that 5-hole spot, you know, replacing Luis Castillo, Emerson Hancock, maybe bringing up Durangelo or somebody else that could be a little bit more solid for us. But so far, so good. Let's go to the bottom of the third. Let's see who's up next here for the M's. Next up is center fielder Julio Rodriguez. Batting second, catcher, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. And batting third, left fielder, Randy Arozarena. And I've sprinkled in some new photos, obviously, based on the shitty performance that we had yesterday. So figured that we needed a little bit of a boost. And what a better way to do that is showing you some new HD 4K photos of our studs. Down and away, ball one. We can get one more here up for Reflect and for Captain. Let's go, baby. It's Miller time. Pitches outside to Julio. Good eye. 2 balls and no strikes. Pitches inside. 3 balls and no strikes. I mean, once we can get patience with Julio, things will obviously be on the up and up, and he got hit in the ribs, obviously, in that first at bat. Almost gets hit in the ribs again, and that is 4 straight garbage pitches by Osvaldo Bido. Julio to first. We'll take that. Judah in the building. What's good? Next up is Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh. And we know that he got the 6-year, $105 million extension, no trade clause. He has been battling food poisoning the last couple days, but I feel that, it's all kind of passed through him now, and he should be good to go. And I would not be shocked if he goes yard today or tomorrow, or ends up getting at least a hit or two here today. Let's go, Cal. But again, Cal Raleigh is always going to be best when he starts off batting left. And then if he has to, go to a righty later in the game, if they bring in a left-handed pitcher, fine. But when we end up going against a left-handed pitcher and he bats right, he's definitely not as good. Still can hit a homer from the right side, but Mariners struggle with left-handed pitching. We can make anybody look like a Cy Young pitcher, it seems like, with the last few years. 2-0 count to Big Dumper. Cal crushes that one, but that one is going to stay in play. Lawrence Butler is there. 1 away. Let's go, baby. Still love you. Next up, left fielder Randy Arozarena. And when we had bases loaded, no outs, he hit into a double play, which was kind of unfortunate. Little blooper, and then you had Muncy tap on second base. So it wasn't really a normal, typical double play where it's a ground ball, flip to second, throw to first. But that definitely stole a little momentum away where we could be up 3-0, 4-0 right now. But we got to, be patient. We got to crawl before we walk, especially getting a 0 yesterday. That was a tough thing to watch. And it's also even tougher for me because I can't leave. I can't just say I'm turning the game off or I'm stop watching, with frustration. You just have to go through it. And, you're going to have great, joyful moments like in game number 1. There we go. Stolen bag by Julio. Safe. But also when we have those comebacks, when we're down 2-1, Randy homers 2-2, Polo gets the 2-run blast for the, go ahead, 4-2 victory, but then losing the next game 7-0. It definitely puts things in perspective as a Mariner fan, where you're going to have the joy, but for every game that you're going to have the joy, there's going to be some bullshit that you're going to have to endure. And hopefully we can find a way to get the dub here today and tomorrow, with Miller and Wu. And I feel we will. I don't got a whole lot of confidence in Castillo and Hancock, and hopefully Kirby will be back very, very soon and he won't re-aggravate the shoulder injury because we're going to need Kirby. Facts. Bottom of the third, 1-0 Mariners. Vibes are great. 1 out. Runner at second, Julio. Pitches outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Now, Shea Langolier is not the greatest thrower, compared to Cal Raleigh. Obviously throwing guys out at first, second, or third. Obviously had the error throwing to second already. And that led to Rowdy Tellez scoring and giving us the 1-0 lead. Julio takes off. And safe. That was just a great jump by Julio Rodriguez there. And this is the Julio Rodriguez that we saw in his rookie year. We didn't see a whole lot of this, in year 2 and year 3. So this is great. We want to be able to see guys steal bags. We want to see guys bunt, move guys over. And again, when Victor Robles gets a hit in his first at bat, that gives Julio that confidence and that swagger to do the same. And again, if you notice, when Victor does good, Julio does good. When Victor does bad, Julio does bad. It really is a connection there at the top of the order. Big swing and a miss for Randy Arozarena. Count now is full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. I wouldn't assume that Julio will steal home, but nothing would surprise me. And we don't want, him to get caught stealing at home. I mean, we got a 1-0 lead, but I don't think we need to get that ballsy. Not yet. Randy crushes that one. Foul. Yeah, lots of 1 and 2 seeds. And Duke will beat Bama. No question about that. Randy, dribbler, throw home, and got Julio at home with the force out. Fuck. 2 away. And then you got Houston and Tennessee, Auburn and Michigan State. 1 and 2, 1 and 2. And those should be pretty good, obviously, tomorrow. Let him know, Odin. Let him know. But it's not like Cal Raleigh is fat. He just got a big butt. He's not, it's not like he's like looks like Rowdy Tellez or any of our DHs that we've had, like Mike Ford or Jared Vogelback. He's not like overweight. He's got a big bum. He's got a big dumpa. But that's okay, If other announcers want to poke fun at our catcher, we got the best catcher in Major League Baseball, so they can play all they want, but we know how good Cal really is. Pitches outside to Luke Raley, 1 ball and 1 strike. Bottom of the third, 2 outs, runner at first. Luke Raley in the box, Osvaldo Bido on the mound. I mean, I wouldn't want any other catcher but, Cal. I mean, obviously, Adley Rutschman is a great player. That might be the only player that, I would want if we didn't have Cal Raleigh on that level. Like Salvador Perez is old, JT Realmuto and Will Smith, they're good, but I would rather have Cal or Rutschman. So, that's pretty good to be able to have, one of the best. And obviously, with everything that Cal does leadership-wise, I'm happy that we're going to have him and for the next 6 years, and hopefully after that contract is up, we'll be able to have him for the rest of his career. End of the third, 1-0 Mariners. Let's see who's up next here for the Athletics. Next up for the A's, 0 for 1 right fielder Lawrence Butler. Batting second, 0 for 1 DHing Brent Rooker. And batting third, 0 for 1 center fielder J.J. Bleday. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to a good number. We'll be shooting for 50 likes here today. If we get that, we'll be shooting for 75 if we can get that volume. But obviously, we have to get to that 20 to 30 range first. And obviously, we'll be shooting for 100 in the donos on every stream. I believe we're at 1090 to go. Bryce Miller looking good on the thumb, baby. Let's go. Anything that you want to see photo-wise reflect? Yeah, Duke is the best team in the tourney, overall. So we'll see how it all plays out. But you never can go against a team that's got the best player in the country. Yeah, it was crazy today too, especially when they started off the game with 3 pitches, 3 home runs. That typically does not happen. That is a rare thing. That does not happen in sports, and the Brewers, what can you say? At least they got to 9. They made it at least, somewhat respectable instead of it being 20-0 or 20-1. At least they got to 9. But starting off the year for the Brew Crew, 0-2. But Goldschmidt, Bellinger, Judge, and not only did they hit homer on 3 pitches, Judge ended up having 3 homers in the game. So shows you how good Aaron Judge truly is. Just like Shohei Ohtani, they are a pleasure to watch. We're in the top of the fourth, 1-0 Mariners. First pitch to Lawrence Butler is outside, 1-0 count. Megan in the building, Judah in the building, what's good? Pitch right down the heater, and that one is fading foul. Yeah, I think a lot of people didn't really, deep dive research-wise to see how bad of the injury on the ankle was. Is it going to be like, what's the severity? 1, 2, 3, 4 based off the sprain? And I feel like a lot of people didn't dig into that information. And if they would have, then they still would have picked Duke. But if you saw the injury, then you maybe yourself and others were like, ooh, I don't know. And then you ended up going for like Florida or, one of those other top seeds. So Butler popped up. Julio is there. No fly zone. There we go. 1 away. But also, too, sometimes it feels like, the media lies, like especially like in football when you hear injuries, and then you end up watching the game and they say, oh, this guy's injured. And then you watch the game and there's no sign of an injury whatsoever. So sometimes I feel like at least on the football side, sometimes the injury report is like clickbait. Like they can say there's an injury, but then when you see no signs of an injury whatsoever, then it makes you kind of wonder, with the people that are actually reporting the injury, making it sound like, oh, the guy can barely walk, he can barely play. And then I watched the game and the guy gets 3 sacks and 2 tackles for loss and a pick. And I was like, where's the injury? So, but for baseball and other sports, maybe a little bit different. Top of the 4th, 1-0 M's. Nobody on, 1 out, 1-1 count to Brent Rooker. 1-1 pitch. Rooker crushes that one behind the plate to the T-Mobile Park sign. Behind in the count now, 1-2. You know me, man. I love it. I love it. Brandy in the building. Yes, I live here in the Pacific Northwest. I've lived here my whole life, 40 plus years. And Rooker with a little line drive all the way to Victor Robles for a single. Next up is J.J. Bleday. I live here in Oregon, but I make my way up to Seattle usually a couple times a year. I'm going to try to catch at least a couple Mariner games if I can. Pitch is low and into the dirt. And tried to smother that baseball the best that he could. Big dumper. Runner does not advance. 1-0 count to J.J. Bleday. Nice job, Cal. Much better start, obviously, today than what we saw yesterday. But if there is a glaring weakness for us, it's obviously the bullpen. And obviously hitting hasn't, been the greatest, but again, we were a bottom 5 team the last 3 to 4 years, hitting wise, 200 to 220. Polo has been great, so far. And we've been getting some guys to kind of pick it up in game number 3. But again, it's all about momentum, and it's all about, hits that are surrounding, the current player that you're watching. If Victor Robles hits, Julio will hit. If Julio hits, maybe that'll be a better chance for Cal and Randy to hit. But when one ends up, kind of striking out or kind of not feeling it, and it kind of trickles over to the other guys. And it may not be like that for every team, but for the Mariners, we're definitely a very aura, vibe-oriented team. And the vibes and the aura are much better than yesterday. Pitch is in there, outside of the zone. For a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike from Bryce Miller to J.J. Bleday. Let's go, baby. It's Miller time. Let's go, Bryce. J.J. Bleday crushes that one, fading foul. Count remains 1-2. Yeah, Edgar is still the hitting coach. We had visits by Ken Griffey Jr., Randy Johnson, Ichiro, so again, it seems like a lot of the former players, since they have a good connection with Dan Wilson, have come in, during spring training, as well as, this regular season when they're available. Randy Johnson, Ken Griffey Jr. are professional photographers, so they're not going to be here in Seattle all the time. But for Ichiro, I believe he's got a home in Seattle and one in Japan. And you're going to see Ichiro more than any other former player. And that's probably the player that we actually would want to be closest to the team, based on his hitting. Because, again, Griffey, has earned the right to do the photography just like Randy Johnson. And, one's a pitcher, one's a home run hitter. And obviously we know Griffey could get single, doubles, and triples. But Ichiro is the best, pure hitter that we've ever had. Throw to second. I don't know what the hell that was. Rowdy Tellez. I don't know what that was. Top of the 4th, 1-0 Mariners. Let's look at this again. Smoke towards first base. That could have been really bad off that throw by Rowdy. I appreciate that. Appreciate you. Oh, no. Back. Gone. Shea Langeliers. he goes yard. He might not be the greatest defensive catcher, but every once in a while he can do that. And now we have a 2-1 lead for the A's. Fuck. Well, hopefully the bats come alive because we're probably going to need at least 4 runs to win tonight. Come on, baby. All right, talk soon. Go Kraken. Oh, and again, it's going to happen, from time to time with, Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Bryce Miller, Brian Wu. I mean, he pitched him inside right there and he pulled it, he pulled his hands. And again, all their home runs have been literally just barely over the fence. And that happened yesterday as well. It's not like they're hitting it into the second deck and the third deck. We're talking about like a foot. Just like Victor Robles missed a home run by a foot. That one, didn't even go into the first row. It just went right over the wall. And, sometimes it ends up just being a great play by the other team. And, he's trying to jam the hitter right there, high and tight, but he ends up snapping that wrist at the proper time. And all you can do is just give Shea Langoliers the love. And, he got it done. 2-1 A's. Next up, a guy that hit 2 home runs in game 1, Tyler Soderstrom. Hopefully he doesn't homer here because I don't know if we can mentally or physically recover back-to-back homers. Let's go, Hams. Still love you, Bryce. 0-1 pitch to Soderstrom. Pitch is low and into the dirt. 1 ball and 1 strike. I mean, sometimes it ends up just being a bad pitch, and sometimes it ends up just being a great play by the other team. 1-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss from Soderstrom from Miller, behind in the count now 1-2. But again, at least that we've been able to get some hits early on. Again, instead of having like no hits or 1 hit by like the 6th or 7th inning. So yeah, we're down 2-1, but it doesn't feel like we're down 4-1 or 5-1. And sometimes that happens when you can't hit, when you're only down 1 or 2, but it feels like doubled that because we don't usually hit, collectively as a unit very, very well. Big swing and a miss. Nice punch out there by Bryce Miller. Way to get out of the inning. The damage is done. 2-run blast there by Shea Langoliers. 2-1 A's. Let's go to the bottom of the 4th. And let's get this game tied up. Next up for the Mariners, third baseman, 0-for-1 with a K, but obviously our best player in 2025 so far. Tridents up, Jorge Polanco. Batting second, 1-for-1 with a run and a single. First baseman, Rowdy Tellez. And batting third, 1-for-1, second baseman, Ryan Bliss. Bring that electricity, baby. Let's go. All right, let's go through some of the scores from earlier today. All right, we got Cubs and the Diamondbacks going at it in the bottom of the 9th. Cubs up 4-3. Tigers and Dodgers knotted up at 2 in the bottom of the 5th. Obviously, we're in the bottom of the 4th. A's with that Shea Langoliers homer. Boo! We're down 2-1. And let's go with some final scores. Yankees 20, Brewers 9. They're finding a way to, have Goldschmidt and Cody Bellinger combine their stats to look like Juan Soto. And so far, so good. 20-9 final over the Brew Crew. Brew Crew, they're crying. Yankees, they're feeling good. Angels beat the White Sox 1-0. Cardinals off to a very hot start, which we didn't really know what we were getting out of them at the beginning of the year. But that's a good thing for Sarah and John and a few of the Cardinal fans. Nice job. 5-1 win over the Twins, who are typically a playoff team. Orioles 9, Blue Jays 5, Phillies 11, Nats 6, Rockies 2, Rays 1, Marlins 5, Pirates 4 in 12. Reds won 3-2 over the Giants. Royals beat the Guardians 4-3. Rangers beat the Red Sox 4-3. And the Astros beat the Mets 2-1. Boo! And the Padres beat the Braves 1-0. And that's a little shocking for the Braves and Padres to be, at that total. But again, if pitching ended up being very good that game, then sometimes that ends up happening. But you're not going to see the Braves and the Padres at a 1-0 score that often. I love the bigger guys. I love the Rowdy Tellez. I love the Mike Fords. I love the Carlos Santanas, the Jared Vogelbacks. Popped up to Lawrence Butler. One away. Got to be patient in the box, Mariners. Polo goes down with that little pop-up to Butler. Next up is Rowdy Tellez. Let's go, baby. Try it up. Yeah, after trading Goldschmidt away, again, it's good to be able to have, Nolan there. Even though that they both, had their moments where at times they were good and at times they looked bad. Last season, it was kind of a collective unit thing. But again, sometimes, you can have a bad season and rebound the following year. So, and it looks like Goldschmidt is finding, kind of a rebirth in his career, being on the Yankees. Because when you go to the Yankees, it's like going to the Dodgers. The expectations are going to be a lot higher. Not to say that the expectations weren't in St. Louis, but obviously, St. Louis, Seattle, and these other teams, we're not the Yankees. We're not the Dodgers. We don't spend money. We're not big market teams, right? So sometimes, a change of scenery is good for both teams. And that gives opportunities for more of your young guys to show Case what they can do. 1-2 pitch to Tellez. Good eye. Pitch is low and at the knees. Inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Osvaldo Bido to Rowdy Tellez. Get any ideas, Osvaldo? And it's not Oswaldo, it's Osvaldo with a V. Tellez crushes that one. Foul. We'll be doing Mariners tomorrow at 1, but I will be covering the NASCAR Cup Series Martinville race at the same time. Napa know-how. Shout out to my boy Daniel Hemrick winning his first truck race on Friday. Napa know-how. Love it. Now we need Chase, obviously, to get his first dub for points since he won at Bowman Gray, but I need an official win. But a lot of the Hendrick cars are starting off on the grid pretty high, so I like our chances. Well, you might be the only one in the room with the parlay, Andrew. 2-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Down goes Tellez. I mean, we get people from time to time, but not every person that watches baseball is doing a bet, but you'll get some. Down goes Tellez. 2 away. Next up is second baseman Ryan Bliss. Let's go, Ryan. We need you defensively, and we definitely need that bat to heat up as well as offensively. Let's go, Ryan. First pitch is high and outside to Ryan Bliss. 1-0 count. Nice. Jared McCann with a goal. I love that. 1-0 Kraken. Bliss popped up. Close to the warning track. And that is an easy 1-2-3 inning. End of the 4th. A's up 2-1. Let's go to the top of the 5th and see who's up for the A's. We're going to have to wait for Bido to go out for us to do more damage, possibly. But it's not like we haven't been able to get hits on him. Just a little bit of bad luck with the bases loaded, no outs. Double play that kind of ruined the Uncle Mo, the momentum that we could have had, to start off the game. All right, in the top of the 5th, leading off, in the 6th hole, 0 for 1, left fielder Miguel Andujar. Batting second in the 7th hole, third baseman, the former Mariner, 0 for 1, Luis Urias. And batting third, second baseman, 1 for 1, Max Muncy. Let's go, Bryce. Let's go, Mariners. Duke winning by 5 is very possible. You just got to hope for, no late free throws late to kind of cut into the lead. Where Duke might end up winning by 4 instead of 5, or more than 5. Kind of just depends if they end up closing out their opponent like Auburn did yesterday. We'll see if that is the case or not. All right, Ems, we need to come back. Come on, Mariner Moose. We need this, baby. Let's go. First pitch to Enduar. Pitch is a foot off the plate. We know Cal's great at framing. Pitch on the corner there for another strike, minding the count 0-2, I believe. Pitch. Pitch is outside. On the corner. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I don't really watch a whole lot of college baseball unless it's like the College Baseball World Series. But, yeah, sometimes, you end up seeing those names and someone like yourself might end up watching a little bit of, Auburn sports, basketball, baseball, football. And it's always good to be able to see someone that you maybe thought that was, someone that was on the team that you root for. 2-2 pitch. And Enduar, a nice hard hit single to Victor Robles. And Miguel is on board. Next up is Luis Urias, former Mariner, who hit a home run on us last night on our bullpen. Urias going back towards the warning track. Julio is there, 1 away. Next up is second baseman, 1-for-1, Max Muncy. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. We want to try to be able to hit the algorithm at any given point if we can. Where are we at? We need 8 more to get to 30. So if you are in the room and haven't done it yet, please do. Now we're at 24. Thank you to the few of you that just did it just now. Now we need 6 more to get to 30. And we got enough people in the room at the moment to get there. Appreciate that, Captain. 1-0 pitch to Muncy. Pitch is outside. 2 balls and no strikes. And we're at 10. 90 to go. Come on, Ems. Find a way. 2-0 pitch. Pitch right down the middle with some heat to Muncy. 2 balls and 1 strike. Yeah, things looking good now, but you got to keep pressing on that lead, baby. 2-1 pitch. Little dribbler towards third base and foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Muncy. What do you think about the track, Natman, at Martinsville? Do you like that short track racing, or do you prefer something more super speedway? It's kind of a nice change of pace, but it's not going to be for everyone since it's such a small oval. But, you're going to get wrecks. Nice line drive right to Ryan Bliss. Man, nice job, Ryan. And that's why we have him in instead of Dylan Moore. bringing that offense and bringing the defense. Nice job, Ryan. But at some point, once, Cole Young, Cole Emerson, Belen Celestine, Elnin Celestine, Lazaro Montes. I mean, we got Harry Ford, and a few of those guys have, found their way up to AAA finally. Not all of them yet. Some of them are still in single A, high A, double A. But we got a couple of those guys, 2 out of the 5 main ones that are on AAA. So we may end up seeing 1 or 2 guys get called up at some point of the season, especially if we have injuries. If we don't have any injuries and just poor play, then you still make 1 or 2 at some point. Jacob Wilson in the box. Pitch is high and out of the zone. 2 balls and no strikes. Or 1 ball and 1 strike, excuse me. Top of the 5th, 2-1 A's with a Shea Langoliers 2-run blast. We got a runner at first with 2 outs. 1-1 pitch to Jacob Wilson. 250 average, no homers, and 3 ribbies in 2024, and he's locked in this year. And Wilson crushes that one all the way out to Julio. Julio's throw to third is off. And Wilson gets a double out of that. Next up is right fielder Lawrence Butler. Julio probably should have thrown that to second base to prevent, the runner from going from first to second, but it is what it is. Nice little mound visit here from Cal and Bryce, trying to settle in and figure out the right combination of pitches to make sure that this lead does not grow any more than 1. Go, baby. Lawrence Butler next up in the box, 0 for 2. And we know in a blink of an eye, all it takes is 1 swing, and the game gets a little out of hand with guys like Lawrence Butler and Brent Rooker. Those guys are fantastic. I would take those guys on the Mariners in a heartbeat. I love both of them. And again, they have a few other guys in this lineup that are kind of underrated, and again, they're incredibly young, but again, I did feel that there was going to be a couple teams that were going to be a little bit better than advertised. The A's and the Red Sox, to name a few. Maybe not a lot better than last year, but slightly better. And so far, the A's have been able to, pretty much anybody the Mariners go against, we can make any of their, pitchers look like Cy Young candidates, especially if we have a hard time hitting. But, so far, we're still in the mix, but we need to get out of this inning. 1-0 pitch from Miller to Butler. And he's 0 for 2 with a ground out and a line out so far here tonight. 2-0 count to Lawrence Butler. Let's go, Bryce. Two-0 pitch. Pitch is high and tight. 3-0 count, and this looks like it's going to lead to a walk or something worse. We don't need Bryce to start losing control here in the 5th. We want you to be able to pitch into the 6th, and then, hopefully we can end up having, again, the bullpen that's the strongest. Brash, Santos, Taylor, Munoz, but I don't know when we're going to get that. That was out of the zone, but called strike, 3-1 count. Three-one pitch, and pitches outside, and he walked him. Fuck. Bases loaded now with 2 outs. This could be bad, and you got Brent Rooker. And anyone that has watched Brent Rooker, he had top 5 stats last year, and with 1 swing, this game could be 6-1. So we have to be very, very careful here. And it's not like we're going to pull Bryce in this situation, but we really need to figure out what proper pitches and strategy here to be able to get Rooker out. Even an RBI by Rooker could make this game 3-1, 4-1, or 5-1. Go M's. And this definitely is the most dangerous hitter on the Athletics. You have to be very careful. You know, for him, it's usually like a huge day, you know, for the couple home runs, couple RBIs. And then there are going to be days where he goes 0 for 4, you know, or 1 for 5. But he definitely thrives in these types of moments. So I'm really hoping that we can find a way to get out of this. Even, you know, I don't even need a punch out. I just need a grounder or a pop up. You know, I don't even need an emotional strikeout here. Just find a way to get him out. First pitch is a strike, 0-1 count. Base is loaded with 2 outs, 0-1 pitch. Pitch is high, check swing. Did he go? And he did not. 1 ball and 1 strike to Rooker. Let's go, Bryce. Let's get out of this inning, baby. Now, if this was Luis Castillo, we would be fucked. So, same thing with Emerson Hancock. But with Miller, we can do it. Popped up, and behind the plate, foul. Behind in the count, 1-2. I feel good with a 1-2 count with Miller. Yeah. We'll take anything. Punch out, ground out, pop up. I don't care. Whatever equates to an out and no other runs come in, that's what we need. We can't let this game get out of hand. Let's go, Bryce. Bases loaded, 1-2 pitch. Struck him out looking. There we go. Wow. We get out of the jam, baby. And I'm not talking NBA. Let's go. Nice job, Bryce. Way to get out of the inning. Finding that nice location and control. 2-1 Mariners. Hell yeah. I wish. 2-1 A's. Let's see who's up next here in the bottom of the 5th for the M's. Leading off for the Mariners in the 9-hole, shortstop 0 for 1, J.P. Crawford. Batting second, 1 for 2, right fielder Victor Robles. And this would be a great time to drop down the bunt. Let's see if he does it. And batting third, 0 for 0 with a base on ball, got hit in the ribs. And again, we'll see if he can end up getting a nice base hit. At this at-bat, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, M's. We're getting there. We're almost there. 2 more to 30. There we go. 2 more. And we hit 60 plus on the first matchup, 30 plus yesterday. And then once we can regularly get to 30, then we'll shoot for obviously those 40s and those 50s. But really it comes down to if the game is close for the Mariners at the end, because you're always going to get a spike in viewership with the M's when the game is close, because you either got people trying to win money on a parlay, then you got people that are M's fans like us that are rooting for us to win, or you get people that are rooting for the other team or Mariners haters that are hoping that we lose. And so that way they can win money or just win, obviously for their team that's playing the M's. So but they still got Osvaldo Bido out there and J.P. Crawford ahead of the count, 2-0. Let's go, J.P. 2-0 pitch. Oh, J.P. drops the bunt. And I feel like my my ESP is pretty strong. Again, you can bunt in any inning. But again, we need to start bunting more often. It's a lost art. And if you actually are one of the better teams in Major League Baseball to do it, and you got like 2 or 3 guys that are good at it, fucking do it. Not every time you're going to get a single, double, triple, or home run. A lot of strikeouts, a lot of pop-ups, and a lot of ground outs. It's okay to sacrifice one of your at-bats and drop a bunt down, because you might end up having a wild throw to first, and you could end up getting safe that way, or all the way to second base and getting a double off a bunt. I think if coaching, if they were able to talk the players into that regard, I think more guys would do it. But, unless they just don't feel that they can get on base that way. But some guys are better than others dropping the bunt down. Bottom of the fifth, 2-1 A's. Nobody on, nobody out. Pitches outside, and J.P. Crawford with the walk, baby. I like that, baby. I feel this will be a good inning for us. J-Rod bat flip bobblehead against the Tigers. I need that. Not going to be able to go to that game, but I want that bobble. I'll probably have to overpay on eBay, probably $50 to $100 for that bobble, but that bobble will be mine. Next up is Victor Robles. Robles goes for the bunt, and he gets hit. My Esp is strong, boy. All I got to do is send that text message. And I don't want him to get injured there. And we know Osvaldo Bido is a little wild. I don't want, Robles to drop a bunt and then break his fucking wrist. It's all about placement, and he gets hit on the hand, on that attempt. But that's back-to-back bunt attempts for JP and Robles when I mentioned it. And again, bunting needs to be a part of the strategy, but we don't want to have injuries due to it. Looked like it was just a little bit of a stinger there. He should be okay. No broken bones, baby. But they're going to look at him and make sure that everything is all right with Victor Robles. And hand placement is very crucial for dropping the bunt. And I would say, Victor Robles' hand placement isn't the best out of the guys that can drop the bunt down. He is prone to get hit, when he drops the bunt down, but you have to be able to place your body and your hands in a particular area. And sometimes it's just bad luck with the pitch that comes in, whether it's a curveball, a sinker, a fastball, and sometimes it ends up, hitting you in the hand or into the forearm or elbow, or even sometimes in the chest. But hopefully he'll be okay here, because we have a good opportunity to get something going. Oh, I want the cowl as well. You know that. Next up is Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, J-Rod. Trident's up. Hit by a pitch, walk, and 2 stolen bases for Julio. Takes a first pitch strike. Behind in the count 0-1. Come on, Julio. Big swing and a miss behind in the count 0-2. And typically when Julio gets behind in the count 0-2, 90% of the time he will strike out. Unfortunately, he's not going to be like a Tony Gwynn or some of these other guys where it's 0-2 and it feels like it's a 2-0 count. Julio definitely struggles and feels the pressure when he's behind in the 0-2. Sometimes you have to mentally kind of psych yourself out. And, if you could imagine in your head that it's 2-0 rather than 0-2, easier said than done. But, I feel like mentally it kind of creeps into his head. And that is strike 3. Damn it, Julio. See, in those instances, I want to be wrong. He goes 0-2 and then goes yard. And like, it's okay to be wrong if something positive happens. But, that in that instance right there, I wish I was wrong. Big punch out there on Julio. But, again, I watch a lot of games just like a lot of y'all in the room. And, a lot of tendencies, tend to repeat themselves. Patterns happen. You just have to notice the pattern. Next up is big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Let's go, Cal. Randy on deck. We need a little bit of this, baby. Trident's up. 1 out and 2 on. Bottom of the fifth, 2-1 A's. Runners at first and second. Pitches inside. 2-0 count. Come on, Cal. Let's go, big dumper. 2-0 pitch. Kind of a half-ass swing right there. It's like he kind of wanted to check swing, but then the momentum already brought him around. 2-1 count. And we can't afford to leave too many guys stranded. It's not like we're one of the best hitting teams in baseball. We already had bases loaded, no outs in the first inning, and we got nothing. And we're not very good in games like this. 1-0, 2-1, 3-2. Now, when we score 4 runs or more, we're going to win most of the time. Now we just have to be able to get 3 more to get to that point. 2-1 pitch. And Cal with a slow dribbler. And that's going to be a double play. Fuck! Well, Randy with a double play. Cal with a double play. Oh, tough. And Osvaldo Beto gets out of that jam. And it's the end of the 5th inning. 2-1 A's. Let's see who's up next here in the top of the 6th for the Athletics. Next up for the A's, 0 for 2, center fielder J.J. Bleday. Batting second, 1 for 2 with a run, 2 RBIs, and a 2-run blast, Shea Langeliers. And batting third, 0 for 2 with 2 Ks, first baseman Tyler Soderstrom. Let's go M's. Well, looks like Judah's going to win some money on that parlay. Let's go, baby. Top of the 6th. We're still in it. 2-1 game. Bryce Miller still out there, and, we can still end this inning. Obviously with the top of the order, with the game still at this score. Let's go, Bryce. First pitch to J.J. Bleday. And that's the 73rd pitch there for Mr. Miller. And that one is crushed foul behind in the count 0-1 for J.J. Bleday. We're at 10, 90 to go. 0-1 pitch. Pitch is high and outside. 1 ball and 1 strike from Bryce Miller to J.J. Bleday. 243 average, 20 homers, and 60 ribbies in 2024. 1-1 pitch. Check swing. Got a little bit of contact on that ball. Fading foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes to J.J. Bleday. And Colin Snyder warming up in the pen. And hopefully he'll be better than guys like Bizzardo and Saucedo and some of these other guys that have been terrible for us, obviously, in these first couple games. Trent Thornton gave up a home run. Bizzardo and Sauce are terrible. Hopefully we can find out, the right ones. Like Santos, Troy Taylor, Brash, Munoz. We need more of that type of quality. Two-two pitch. That one foul back behind the plate. Count remains 2-2. Two pitch. Pitch is low at the knees, into the dirt. Count is full. And, kind of feels like we're going to end up walking him here. Well, it's not necessarily our starting pitching. It's, the mid relievers, but again, once we can get everyone healthy, I don't think it will be that much of a problem, but we need better guys, and again, I can't wait to be able to see a guy like Durangelo, our draft pick, pitching left-handed and right-handed. He might be raw, but he can't be any worse than what we're getting out of Bizzardo and Sauce, and guys like that. So I'm really hoping that we can get a few of those guys called up, whether it be from AAA, single A, high A, double A, triple A, being a rookie, whatever the situation may be. Popped up from, there we go, Julio. Next up is first baseman Tyler Soderstrom. Figured I'd get him a new photo. And Blade ended up walking in the previous at-bat. There's a huge Julio bobblehead, like life size, like 6 foot. I need that. I need that here at my house. It's right down the middle from Bryce Miller to Tyler Soderstrom, behind the count 0-1. Top of the 6th, 2-1 A's. Runner at first with 1 out. And Soderstrom, 2 home runs in game number 1 today, 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. 0-1 pitch from Miller. Pitch is low and inside, and Miller is starting to lose control. And J.J. Blade advances to second base. Yeah, also not ideal for Kirby to start off the year, on the injured list with that inflammation in the shoulder. But, hopefully he'll be, good to go for the rest of the season. And it doesn't, creep up on him, later in the year or having another injury on top of that. But, we're going to need Kirby as soon as possible, but we can't rush him. Big swing and a miss by Soderstrom, behind an account now 1-2. Come on, Bryce, settle in. One-two pitch from Miller to Soderstrom. Chopper towards first and foul. Count remains 1-2. But I definitely am happy that we're back into baseball season. I figured it just felt like it was forever. NASCAR, you only have a couple months off, but for baseball, you go from October, with the World Series and the playoffs, and then you're in November, December, January, February, and then you get a little bit of a taste of it in March for spring training, and then the end of March, obviously beginning of April, we get into the regular season. But I'm definitely very, very happy we're in full swing now. Top of the 6th, 2-1 Athletics. Runner at second, J.J. Boudet with the wild pitch with 1 out. 85 pitches for Bryce Miller, so this will be his last inning. But based on how our bullpen is playing, maybe we might need our guys to go longer. Back when I was a kid, that got away from Cal, throw to first, got him. But back when I was a kid, there was, obviously a different age and a different time, but, starting pitchers would go 9 innings. Or maybe 8 innings, but it was pretty common. But obviously, with different mechanics and Tommy John and diet and, and obviously it's like top end velocity is what's going to end up getting you Tommy John. So sometimes you'll be able to pitch a little bit less miles per hour and having more control and location is going to be key. But, it just kind of depends on the type of pitcher that you're watching. Are they a pitcher with heat? Are they a pitcher with location? Or a little bit of both? Next up is Miguel Andujar. Top of the 6th, 2-1 A's. Come on, baby. 2 outs, runner at second. Let's get out of this inning. It's finish strong, Bryce. 1-0 pitch from Miller to Andujar. And Andujar singles to center. J.J. Bleday scores. Fuck. 3-1 A's. Damn it. Miguel. Damn it. It shows you how important it is for the Mariners to get hits and get runs, and again, we definitely blew an opportunity with bases loaded, no outs in the first inning, because if we ended up getting a couple, in that first inning, maybe the game is tied right now 3-3. It's like we can't, and we are a team just like any team that is unlucky sometimes with the double play, but yeah, we really fucked ourselves on that first inning. J.P. Crawford out of position. Tough. And next up is the former Mariner, Luis Urias. Brutal. Yeah, I mean, I do my research, man. I'm not going to be right about anything. No one is. But again, I feel like I have a very, very good pulse, in the sports and wrestling world, just based on all the time that I put in, for my legacy and for this channel. So. And again, it's not like the A's are going to do this just to the Mariners. I don't think that, they're going to go to the playoffs, so to speak, but they're going to be better than the Angels. And again, depending on if the Rangers or Astros or Mariners have injuries, we'll see what place the A's actually finish in at the end of the year. And Bryce's night is over. That's kind of a shitty way to go out right there. But, it happens. And again, starting pitching, giving up 1, 2, 3 runs, it's kind of common, right? You just don't want it to get to the 4, 5, 6, type of route. But now we need our offense to give Bryce, a little bit of oomph, and now I'm a little scared to see who's coming in for him, but I already know it's Colin Snyder because we saw him in the pen and we haven't seen him yet. So as long as he's better than Bizzardo and Sauce, I'll be happy. Come on, Colin. I have confidence that Colin can get one out. Let's go, baby. Looking good in that City Connect. I'm going to go get my drink here real quick. Give me 1 sec. I check up on the Paisley puck. All right, I'm back. Duke winning by 20. Good for them. It's about time that we start getting some of these top seeds, showing why they're this far into the tournament at this moment. Let's go, Colin. You're definitely better than some of the other guys like Bizzardo and Sauce. Sauce shouldn't even be on the team. Send his ass down to AAA or just cut him. One ball and 1 strike here for Colin Snyder. So far, so good. 42 games, 1.94 ERA, strikeout rate of 28%, walk rate 7. And that's solid numbers for a guy that's in the bullpen. We need more of that. 1-1 pitch. Popped up, and he gets us out of the inning. Nice job. And there we go. 2 hands by J.P. Crawford. Let's go to the bottom of the 6th. Now it's going to be a sprint. All right, we got 4 innings, to catch up, and we don't need to get all of the hits and runs in 1 inning. Obviously it would be great if we could tie it up in this inning and make it 3-3, but, just shooting for a 3-2, and then let's, see where it goes. But hopefully we can find the right combination of guys to get a little bit of a rally going. And when we get down, which is going to be often this year, we're going to need the Mariner Moose. All right, next up, 0 for 2, left fielder, Randy Arozarena. Hey, I got you a new photo. you know, obviously for the stream. I don't know if we need to go back to the old one, you know, but if this is what we need to do, we need you to go yard. Let's go, Randy. At least get on base. Batting second, 0 for 2 with a K. DHing Nuke Rayleigh. And we would love for Luke to nuke it. We need it. Let's go, Luke. And then batting third, the best player in 2025 up to this point, 0 for 2 today, though, with a K, Jorge Polanco. Let's go, Polo. We need you. Trident's up. Need a rally, baby. Let's go. All right, we're at 30 finally. There we go. Now we need 5 more to 35, 10 more to get to 40. Let's go. And we're at 10, 90 to go. Let's go, Randy. Big swing and a miss behind in the count 0-2. Another individual like Julio that typically struggles in an 0-2 situation, but hopefully he can find a way. It's one thing to be aggressive, you know, in the count, but again, if you end up swinging at a shitty pitch early on, you know, and then obviously the second pitch is fouled off, then you're stuck in this 0-2 hole, and hopefully he can find a way to get something on Osvaldo Bido here. Popped up on a 1-2 pitch, go out into the crowd, go, 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 and it fades foul, thank God. Come on, Randy. We need you, Randy. Yeah, I threw up a new one for you. Try to give us a new little vibe, you know, with some new photos in 2025. And that photo is from game 1, obviously, when he was one of the heroes with Jorge Polanco to tie that game up 2-2 in the 8th. Pitch is high and inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pitch is inside, high and tight, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Good opportunity for a walk here for Randy Arozarena if he's patient, you know, but again, patience and Randy Arozarena usually don't go together. Oh, pitch is high and inside, almost hits him, and that's a walk. We'll take it. There we go, Randy. Good job. Not swinging that garbage. Now we got a runner at first, and I think that will be the last pitch for Osvaldo Bido. He's out. All right, now we can rake. Now we can start raking, baby. But a pretty solid day for Osvaldo Bido. Pretty solid outing for all the A's pitchers. You know, again, we can make anybody look like a Cy Young candidate. And we've managed to make all 3 athletic pitchers in the first 3 days look, you know, like Cy Young guys, even though they're not going to be in the running. All right, time for Luke Rayleigh to fucking nuke it. Let's go. We need that electricity, baby. Let's go, Luke. We need that speed. We need that hustle. We need that Luke Rayleigh from last year. Let's go, baby. to rally desperately. And they have Harris coming in for Vito. And then, wow, they're bringing in Mitch Garver to hit for Luke Raley. Garver actually has been a little bit better in, spring training like Polo, but I don't know about that. But again, you've already given Luke a couple chances, but maybe Mitch Garver can be our hero. I mean, we'll see. Let's see if it works out. I'm not sure if I agree with him coming in for Luke Raley, but we'll see. Again, Garver has been better, in spring training like Polo, and this will be a great opportunity to, hit a home run, and tie this game up, or at least to get to, first and move the guy over if he can end up being patient in the box. Takes a first pitch strike behind in the count 0-1. Come on, Garv. Let's go, baby. Takes another strike inside, and we got a lefty on the mound by Harris, and we struggle with lefty pitching. So I'm not sure how this is going to go, and that's the reason why that they brought in Mitch Garver, because the pitcher is a lefty, not a righty. Makes sense now. 0-2 pitch, crushes that one foul. And now with Garver in an 0-2 hole, the chances of him getting a hit is like 1%. It's not going to happen at this at-bat, but maybe Garver's next at-bat, if he's still in the game, maybe he'll get something if he gets another chance. 0-2 pitch. Pitch is outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. That's TL in the building. What's good? Yeah, it's all right, though. I don't think anyone really thought that they were going to start off the year with some wins. Most people thought that it would, be pretty rough like it was last year. And down goes Garver, 1 away. Oh, wow. Wild throw. And Randy's trying to go to third. Dumb decision. Wow. I thought he was going to get thrown out there, but... There we go. There we go. Randy, off that wild pitch, makes it to third base. Polo, let's go. And finally, someone is going to come to play. Nice job, Jorge Polanco. Now the game is in reach. 3-2 Athletics. Let's go. Garv couldn't get it done, but hey, Polo's been our best player in 2025, and he continues to shine for us. Let's go. And again, Randy going from first to third off the wild pitch made it happen. Nice job. Trident's up. Now we're in the game, baby. It's in reach now. Let's go. Now we're having Dylan Moore, a hit for Rowdy Tellez, which I don't know if I agree with that either, but again, we'll see. All right, Demo. I don't know if I approve of this, kind of like the Garver move, but we'll see. Let's go, baby. Megan with a 5, appreciate you. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks with a little cactus jack. Bang, bang. Let me know what you want to do for a photo or two, and I got you. We'll do that after this inning is over. Appreciate you very much. 3-2 Athletics. We're at 15:85 to go. Megan with a 5, Megan with a 2. Appreciate you. A little back-to-back dono train for Megan. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, little cactus jack. Bang, bang. High and wide for ball 1 to Demo. And the reason that Dylan Moore ended up not being the second baseman, which was projected early in spring training, is because he went like 1 for 20. And Bliss had a little bit better of a time in that Cactus League. So we'll see if Dylan Moore can find his stride here today. Come on, Demo. Pitch is outside. 3-0 count. But again, the main reason that we're getting a lot of these substitutions is because the pitcher that came in for Beto, Harris, is a lefty. And again, when you got guys that are left on left, they feel that the percentages aren't going to work out, which I disagree with. I feel that if you're a good player, it won't matter if it's a righty or a lefty. You can get it done. But, they decide to go for a guy that's been sitting in the, dugout for, an hour and a half, 2 hours, and hopefully that they can find a little bit of magic just because they're a righty. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. 3-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Minding the count now. Count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Pitch is low and into the dirt, and that is a walk. There we go, baby. We like that. Now we got runners at first and second. Next up is Ryan Bliss, and they're going to make another pitching change. Let's get some photos up here for Megan while we have an opportunity to do so. And it'll give you an opportunity to learn about some of the other players that they have since Soto is no longer there. Goldschmidt, an all-star, is there. Bellinger is there from the Dodgers and the Cubs now with the Yankees. Goldschmidt from the Cardinals, obviously, as last year now with the Yankees. They got Jazz Chisholm. Austin Wells has been playing well for them as well. But I got you. But you'll be able to figure out another individual besides Giancarlo and Judge that you can add to your trio. Like Anthony Volpe. He's a stud. Still to this day, it seems crazy that I was able to get a Julio and an Aaron Judge ball, in the same season. And not only that, in Julio's rookie year and in the year that Judge broke the record for the 62 homers, it still to this day seems crazy to me. But, I think it's sometimes, if you're in the right place at the right time, you just have to be able to take advantage of the moment. And if you're in the right place at the right time, make sure that you make it happen. And a lot of times, when I go to these sporting events, for whatever reason, the sports gods shine down on me, and it's either up to me to get it, get the baseball, or I fumble the bag. And luckily, I have never really fumbled the bag when it comes into my area. Most of the time I end up getting it. So, but Judge is something special, and if anyone were to break that record, you would have to think it would be Aaron Judge himself again, or a guy like a Shohei Ohtani. So, yeah, Bellinger is already a good fan favorite. Again, Volpe, being a young and upcoming player, is a really good fan favorite there as well. But they got a nice, solid roster. They're not going to make the World Series again this year, more than likely, against the Dodgers. You're not going to see Yankees-Dodgers again. At least you wouldn't think so. But, an amazing performance today. Bliss, down, slicing towards first base, foul. But again, if you can get Goldschmidt and Bellinger to combine their numbers and give you what Soto would have given you, then, maybe they'll be able to make a nice run, a kind of a 2-for-1. And so far, Goldschmidt and Bellinger have been looking pretty good. And also they allowed them to have beards. And I think that is another part of where the Yankees are going to be a little bit better, letting the guys be themselves and let them have a little bit of facial hair, which was a rule that they decided that they would break this year, which is smart. Popped up into right field, 2 away. And now we got runners at first and second with a 3-2 lead for the Athletics. Next up is J.P. Crawford. Let's go, J.P. We need a rally, baby. Let's go. Go, JP. And it's obviously an ego hit to go from the 1 hole to the 9 hole. Victor Robles is a better player, but again, you can still make an impact on the team, even though you're going to be the last batter in the 9 hole for JP Crawford. 0 for 1 with a base on ball, and he gets the JP chance. Yeah, 20 is not a record, even though it sounds like it should be. (26-23), Cubs and Phillies combined for 49. So, I mean, some of the numbers, but anytime you get into the 20s, you're definitely in rare air for sure. I mean, hell, anything even over 10 is amazing, but to actually get to 20, it's pretty insane. But if you get to 20, chances are you probably had 5 to 10 home runs, and that's exactly what happened. When you get closer to that 10 home run number, obviously you can have solo shots, three-run shots, and JP Crawford takes a strike looking, and that is the end of the 6th inning, unfortunately, but at least we cut into the lead, like I mentioned, and again, now the game is definitely still in reach. Athletics 3, Mariners 2. Let's go to the top of the 7th, and let's see who's up for the Athletics. Next up for the A's, 1 for 2, second baseman Max Muncy. Batting second, 1 for 2, shortstop Jacob Wilson. And batting third, 0 for 2, with a base on ball, right fielder Lawrence Butler. Let's go Evans. Not JT in the building. What's good? Says most runs scored in one team in 1897. The Chicago Colts won 36-7 over the Louisville Colonels. But the highest scoring game combined is 49 runs. Cubs 26, Phillies 23. And that was in 1922 when the Cubs had a 25-6 lead, and then they held on for a 26-23 all-time record score of a combined record of 49 runs. Imagine being at that game. That's like one of those games that would have lasted probably like fucking 8 hours. All right, we're in the top of the 7th, 3-2 A's. Not JT in the building. What's good, brother? What kind of conspiracy story you got for me today? What do you got on slate today? What's for dinner, my guy? And what's the new conspiracy theory that you got cooking for me today? One that you believe in or one that you don't believe in? And speaking of conspiracy theories and whatnot, I'm almost done with X-Files. I started it from season 1, episode 1, and now I think I have one more season to go after they did the reboot. After they went off TV in 2002, then they had season 10, season 11, one in 2016, and then one in 2018, and then it was over. So it's been a long journey watching all these X-Files episodes, and it's been a blast. But one thing is for damn sure, the episodes that don't have Fox Mulder, David Duchovny in it are not as good. He is the star, and again, Gillian Anderson does a great job with some of the other guys that they brought in, like Robert Patrick, from the Terminator movie, obviously being one of the villains against Arnold Schwarzenegger, but definitely doesn't hit the same, with Doggett compared to Mulder and Scully. Facts. Big swing and a miss. Nice job by Colin Snyder. 1 away. Muncy goes down. Next up is Jacob Wilson. First pitch is outside, 1-0 count. Top of the seventh, 3-2 A's. And Snyder looks a hell of a lot better than a lot of the guys that we brought in yesterday, like Bizzardo and Sauce. At one point, Bizzardo and Sauce's ERA was like 27 apiece. Not good. But it looks much better here with Colin Snyder. Snyder is similar to like a Brash or a Santos or a Taylor. So that's a good sign so far. Wilson crushes that one. Foul. Behind in the count 1-2. Jacob Wilson in 2024 with limited action, 250 average, no homers and 3 ribbies, and he's going to have a good year this year for the A's. You know, especially being a guy in the 9-hole that no one expects him to do anything. Dribbler towards third, foul. Stand with Ukraine in the building. What's good? Popped up. Snyder should let Cal get it, but he gets in the way and he drops it. Idiot. Come on, Colin, you fucking idiot. Okay, now we got to put Colin in the same category as Bizzardo and Sauce. When it's a pop-up, get the fuck out of the way and let Cal do his job. Jesus Christ. You're a pitcher. You're not a guy that's going to, catch, foul balls and, balls that are up in the air like that. I mean, let Polo or Cal get the baseball, you dummy. And then that little bugaboo right there just cost the Mariners a double. Idiot. Jesus Christ, Colin. Colin Snyder looking like Colin Coward out there, you fucking dummy. Golly. Next up, Lawrence Butler. Hopefully that bugaboo error will not cost us. Jesus. First pitch to Lawrence Butler, 1-0 count. What the hell are you doing? Get the hell out of the way. It's not your responsibility, to get pop-ups. Let the catchers and the third basemen do their job. Chopper. Little underhand throw to first. 2 away as the runner advances to third. And next up, one of the most dangerous hitters in the game and the best player on the A's, DHing Brent Rooker. 1 for 3 with a run and a K, and hopefully he doesn't go yard like he did yesterday. First pitch from Snyder to Rooker with some heat, and he crushes that one foul. 1 for 3 with a single in the fourth and a run. And Rooker, if you watched him last season, the A's were terrible, but he was putting up top 5 stats overall for kind of a no-name player. And now everyone knows who he is. So sometimes all you got to do is have one breakout year, and then everyone knows who you are. And he was very, very good. I mean, at certain weeks and certain months last year, he was keeping up with guys like Ohtani and Judge, in the box, and that is very impressive. Not a lot of guys can keep up with the Sotos and the Judge and the Ohtanis, but Rooker was one of those guys that did exactly that. 293 average, 39 homers, 112 ribbies for a shitty A's team last year. He's a stud. And I know every fan of every team, if they could have a Brent Rooker on their team, they would love that. I know the Mariners would love to have a player like that. 0-2 pitch to Rooker. Pitch is low and outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. One-two pitch. Rooker crushes that one. Thank God that one ended up going foul towards that third base line. 69 ribbies in 2023, 112 last year. So he doubled his production, and pretty crazy. Yeah, I think the Mariners, relatively, if we can stay injury-free and we can have better production with our bullpen, I think that there is a possibility there. Rooker, little dribbler, throw to first, safe, and a run comes home. Fuck! Now we're down 4-2. But I think 88 to 90 wins is something that could happen. You know, in the 3 out of the last 4 years, we've missed the playoffs by only 1 game. So, and then in 2022, we made it with Julio in his rookie season. And then Cal Raleigh getting that home run on the A's to get us there. So if we can just stay injury-free, you know, for the most part, you know, we do have a good chance to either win the division or at least get second place, you know, to the Astros or Rangers and get 88 or 89 wins. But we need to be shooting for 88 to 90 because if we get less than 88, we're probably going to miss the playoffs by a game again or 2. So. And it shows you how important defense is. You know, Snyder fucking up everything, you know, trying to catch that pump up, and that ended up leading to another run because that should have been an easy out, and instead it led to a double, and that double ended up turning into a run after Rooker ended up getting that little dribbler. 4-2 Athletics. Next up is JJ Bleday. Yeah, but right now, obviously, our bullpen is our weakest link. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. And then obviously hitting. You know, but again, the hitting, you know, is going to get there. You know, we were one of the top 2 spring training teams in hitting. Some of the guys it's carrying over for, like Polo, but we need everyone to kind of catch up. And a lot of times, you know, it ends up being kind of a slow progression until the warmer weather, you know, comes about, until we get into May or June or July. But I'm hoping that we'll have some players other than Polo that can heat up. Otherwise, we'll be in trouble. Oh, I don't know if we're going to get to 9. I mean, we're at 6 right now, but there's a possibility. But every game the Mariners play, we got to be shooting for 4 or 5 runs. If you get less than that, we're not a team that can win, you know, 1-0, 2-1, 3-2. It's not in our DNA. You know, we have to be able to get 4 or more, you know. And typically when we do that, you know, the Mariners, when they scored like 4 runs or more at home last year, they were like 43-7. You know, so it's like we're very fucking dominant, you know, when we can get to that number. But as you can see right now, we're only halfway there. And, you know, if you end up having guys fuck up in the bullpen, like Snyder did, you know, he gave up a run. Now we got Gabe Spire, the Pat McAfee lookalike. And I do like Gabe, but we'll see if he can end up being at least one solid piece that we have in this bullpen. Again, but, you know, from what I've seen in the first 3 games, there's about 3-4 guys that are in the bullpen that shouldn't even be on the fucking team. You know, they should go down to AAA, but we don't really have anyone else that we can bring up at the moment. And our rookie, Durangelo, that can pitch from the left side and the right side, he's not ready yet. 1-2 pitch from Gabe Spire to JJ Bleday. 1-2 count. Top of the 7th, 4-2 A's. Runner at first, 2 outs. 0-1 pitch to Bleday. Spire, slow dribbler, throw to first, and we get out of the inning. But the damage is done, and we're down 2 now. Nice job, Gabe. Told y'all he looks like Pat McAfee. Could be his brother or cousin. At least he didn't fuck it up. Kind of disappointed that Snyder fucked everything up there, but we'll see what we can do now. All right, baby. Let's go to the bottom of the 7th. We have a 3-inning sprint to get 2 runs. We need to shoot for at least 1 this inning. And then 1 in the 8th or the 9th. Can't get it all in 1 inning most of the time. Leading off in the inning, 1 for 2, right fielder, Victor Robles. And I know he tried for the bunt and got hit on the hand, so I don't know if he'll be reluctant to do it again. But if he does bunt, he will have a good opportunity to get on base. Batting second, 0 for 1 with a base on ball and a Gay, who got hit in the ribs, obviously, in his first at-bat. Center fielder, Julio Rodriguez. He's had a slow start to 2025. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a base on ball catcher, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. So it would be amazing if we could end up getting a punt for a single, a little single to have guys on first and second, and then Cal Raleigh to go with a 3-run jack, and then all of a sudden it's Trident's up, and then we're ahead. That's like in a perfect world. But again, I can talk it into existence only so much. But that would be the best case scenario for the Mariners. You know, Robles gets on, Julio gets on, Cal gets a homer, we go up 5-4, and then we have the momentum. But the chances of that happening, probably not very likely, but it has happened, in the past. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Where are we at on the likes? We're at 34. We need 16 more to get to 50. So if you are in the room and haven't done it yet, do your boy a solid. You know, this is your number one source for Mariner coverage on YouTube. All right, we're at 35 now, 15 to go. And we're at 17, 83 to go to hit the goal. Let's go. And we'll be live tomorrow at 1 o'clock for Brian Wu on the mound for the last matchup against the A's. And we'll also be covering NASCAR Cup Series for Martinsville. And that will start around noon. So we'll be probably, I don't know how many laps in by the time the Mariner game will be, on. We'll be an hour in. So, maybe 50 to 100 laps in of the race. Something in that nature, depending on cautions or wrecks. It's a short track, but I'll be covering both of those events tomorrow. But the main one will be, obviously, the Mariner matchup. Brian Wu has to get us a victory. Pitch is inside. 3-0 count to Victor Robles. Here we go. And again, I know he's not going to bunt because he got hit in the hand last time, but he needs to. 3-0, takes a strike. Michael in the building. What's good, brother? It's been a minute. How are you? Wow. 3-2 count. Not a good look here. What's going on with you, Michael? Wow. How do you go a 3-0 count and then you end up striking out? You got to be better than that, Victor. Holy fuck. 3-0 count and then you end up striking out? Jesus Christ. Jesus. Come on, Victor. Next up, 0 for 1 with a baseball ball and a K. He got hit in the ribs early in the matchup. Next up, Julio Rodriguez. Just don't get into an 0-2 hole like you always do. Julio gets behind in the count 0-2, we're fucked. First pitch in there for a strike, 0-1 count. Pitch is low and into the dirt. 1 ball and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. Big swing and a miss behind in the count. 1-2. Bottom of the 7th, 4-2 A's, 1 out, nobody on. Julio Rodriguez, 273 average, 20 homers, and 68 ribbies last year, which is dog shit for a player that's got the charisma, the talent, and obviously being a top 5 popular player. You got to be able to put up the 30, 40 numbers, and hopefully he will. Because again, if you can't end up getting better, all you're going to be is just a good player. You're not going to be a Hall of Famer. But hopefully we can find a way for him to progress. But I think that he's been able to see the baseball a little bit better. He has changed some of his mechanics, working with Edgar Martinez instead of the new hitting coaches that we have. And again, we just need to get him into a rhythm. Easier said than done for him. Now, Giants aren't going to win a whole lot of games for you, Michael, but you guys are going to have the funniest quarterback, room in the league with Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. That's for damn sure. Julio crushes that one foul. But again, at some point, you're going to have to, hopefully get your Eli Manning at some point because you're not going to win a whole lot of games with Russ and Jameis Winston. But at least Malik Neighbors' numbers should go up. At least you would assume they would. 3-2 pitch. And Kayvon Thibodeau will keep doing his thing. Oh, Julio with a walk. That's rare. We'll take that, Julio. Next up is big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Let's go, Cal. Need that, baby. Trident's up. We need a back, gone plane. Let's go. Let's go, baby. I don't know how many photos you need, but let's get it. Come on, Cal. First pitch right down the middle of the cow for a strike. Behind the count 0-1. One swing could tie this game up, or at least, move a guy over and put us in a chance to at least come back. Bottom of the 7th, 4-2 A's, runner at first, 1 out, 0-1 pitch from Murdoch to Raleigh. Raleigh crushes that baseball, behind the count 0-2. Now, you have 0% chance of getting Dart because you already have Russ and Jameis. You have so many holes on that team, not going to happen. You know that. And plus, Dart will only pan out if he has good supporting cast around him. Same thing goes with Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. If they go to shitty teams, all three of them, they may end up failing until they end up going to their second team. This is a very weak quarterback class. Dylan Gabriel is a project QB. Cam Ward might be the best one out of them all, but if he goes to the Titans, he could fail. And then Shedeur Sanders, same type of thing. He's a me player, not a team player. And I think Jackson Dart is more likable than Sanders. But again, if Dart, doesn't go to a good team with good supporting cast, good coaching, and good mentors, he could end up failing in the first couple of years as well. Maybe not failing their whole careers, but, sometimes you have to go to that second team, unless they, make the proper changes within that first 4-year rookie deal to make it happen. But this is probably one of the shittiest quarterback classes that we've seen in a long, long time. Next year's will be a hell of a lot better. Bottom of the 7th, 4-2 A's, runner at first, 1 out. Count is full. Murdoch, 3-2 pitch. Cal chops that one foul. Now, Sarah's kind of in the same position as you, Michael, too, with Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones. I just can't wait for both of your guys' teams to have quarterbacks that you guys deserve. Someone better than those guys. Cal popped up. Didn't get all of that. That is going to stay in play. And Lawrence Butler is there, 2 away. Next up, 0 for 2 with a run and a base on ball. Left fielder, Randy Arozarena. Come on, Randy. Come on down. We need that bat, just like we had in the 8th inning to get us the game tied up at 2-2. But if you go yard here, the game will be tied 4-4, and we fucking need it. Come on, Randy. I mean, if you're really looking at players, that are gonna pan out, Ashton Genty, is gonna pan out. Travis Hunter, is gonna pan out. There's certain guys, that are gonna be able to pan out. But again, I don't feel that everyone in that top 10 or top 15 is going to. Tyler Warren, he'll pan out. But the best, I think the safest pick in the draft is probably Abdul Carter. He's safe. Ashton Genty is safe. Travis Hunter, pretty safe. Tyler Warren, pretty safe. Those guys are safe picks. Those 4 guys are going to be good, regardless of what team they go to. But other guys, if they go to a bad situation with bad culture and bad coaching and bad vibes, some of these guys are going to fail. At least immediately, to start off their career. Doesn't mean they're going to fail their whole career, but 1-1 pitch, check swing, terrible swing by Randy, behind the count 1-2. Yeah, unfortunately, Daniel Jones and AR are the bottom 2 in completion percentage. That's why the Daniel Jones signing didn't make any sense for Sarah's team to me. It's like, if you already got the bottom guy, why did you get the second bottom guy? You need someone that can actually throw. Popped up, and that is the end of the 7th inning. Murdoch ends up out of that inning. Let's see who's up next here for the Athletics in the top of the 8th. Next up for the A's, 1 for 3 with a 2-run blast, catcher Shea Langoliers. Batting second, 0 for 3 with 3 Ks, first baseman Tyler Soderstrom. And batting third, 2 for 3 with an RBI, left fielder Miguel Andujar. And I have to take a peek to see who the fuck our pitcher is going to be. Is it going to still be Gabe Spire? Might as well be. Yeah, it looks like Gabe will still be in there, at least for now. Or Pat McAfee lookalike, and hopefully he'll find a way. We're running out of time. Come on, baby. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help your boy out. One more like to 40. Let's try to get to 50. I mean, we got plenty of people in the room to get to 50. Yeah, he is streaky. One thing about Randy that I don't like is that he kind of takes plays off sometimes, like half-ass swings in the box and half-ass, effort in the outfield, where he's just kind of like lollygagging and, like just kind of too relaxed. I don't need someone that's like super serious all the time either. I want them to have fun. But Robles obviously is a much better player, in my opinion, than Randy. Randy will come up big from time to time, and I agree with you. He is streaky, but we'll see where it goes. I mean, he's better than who we've had in the past out there. So we got one of the best outfields in general with Randy Arozarena, Julio in center, and Victor Robles in right. There's not very many teams in MLB that can match that talent-wise. But again, talent-wise is one thing. Production is something completely other. So we're at 17, 83 to go. They're at 40, 10 more to go to hit the number. Let's go. Yeah, but I think those are my guys in the draft that I feel like the most confidence of. Abdul Carter, at the top, and then obviously guys, Ashton Genty too, and then obviously guys like, Travis Hunter and Tyler Warren. You're right below those guys. All four of those guys will pan out on any team they go to. And I wish the Titans didn't have the top pick, because I don't want to see Cam Ward fail. Like, if we're going to have at least one quarterback be at least like kind of a decent player, hopefully it'll be him, but they got nothing to work with. There is no Derrick Henry there. They don't got anybody there. No A.J. Brown, no Derrick Henry. I mean, they really have gone from being, a decent team like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago to one of the worst teams. So, but we'll see what direction they go. I mean, if the Titans were smart, you would probably pass on Ward and you would take Abdul Carter. It might not be what the fans want, but you're gonna get better production, if you end up getting a guy that might be a perennial Pro Bowler and possibly a Hall of Fame player, rather than taking a guy like Cam Ward that could be a top 10, top 15 quarterback, but also could be a bust. Do you really want to draft a guy with no supporting cast and then, rely on everything, because they've already did that with Malik Willis and a couple other guys. How well did that work out? Not very. So, and I know they need a quarterback there in Tennessee, but, the smart thing to do would be to get Abdul Carter with the first pick in the draft. But we'll see if they are smart or not. We'll find out. 2-2 pitch to Shea Langoliers. Got him. There we go, baby. Nice job by Pat McAfee's cousin, Gabe Spire, with the punch out. One away. Next up, first baseman Tyler Soderstrom. 0 for 3 with 3 Ks. Come on, Mariners. The thing is also, too, if he does play both sides of the ball, that's going to be a higher risk for injury. It would be actually smarter for him to be playing on just one side. It's cool to be, a guy that is, trying to be like a Shohei Ohtani, like a very diverse player that can do, two things, like him, or like a Bo Jackson, showing that athleticism and whatnot. But I guess it really comes down to, what do you think he's best at? Is he best at being like a slot receiver or being a corner? And I feel with him, probably being a defensive player would be better for him, because I think on the offensive side, he'd have more of a chance to be like, not a bust, but not as productive as people think. Everyone in the NFL is fast. He's fast and he's a good player, but again, I think he would be more of an impact player on the defensive side of the ball, but we'll see. Throw to first and safe. I mean, even though we know that he has more talent on the highlight reel on the offensive side, getting balls from Shedeur Sanders, but in the NFL, he's kind of thin. So again, I'm not really sure what type of player offensively he'll be in the NFL. And again, if he commits, to corner, he could end up being, maybe a top 5 or top 10 corner in a couple years. But if he ends up doing both, it could end up ruining his career because he could end up having a better chance to get hurt. All right, there goes Gabe Spire after giving up a single. Yeah, I know. Oh, great. Bizzardo's coming in. Yeah, but again, if you're a team that lacks a lot of, offense and defensive pieces, yeah, primarily, maybe 90% of the time playing corner, 10% gadget plays, that could make sense, get him in there to run some jet sweeps, reverses, screen passes, block for him downfield, and let him use his speed and his high football IQ to try to get you into the end zone, or at least get you some critical first downs, but like I said, I feel like the safest guys are Abdul Carter, Ashton Genty. Those guys got to be at the top. And then right below them, Travis Hunter and Tyler Warren. Warren could be like a Sam Laporta, Brock Bowers, definitely has that ability. And obviously Travis Hunter showing you could play offense and defense. Genty is going to be the next big thing at running back, even though we have Scattaboo and a lot of other good running backs that could end up being decent in the NFL. And then obviously Abdul Carter for me is the safest, pick at the top of the board. So, and hopefully the only thing that could hold back some of those guys is injuries, and hopefully we don't get any injuries with those guys. So. And the Wander Franco shit is sad, because the pedo culture in Hollywood and outside of Hollywood is very prevalent. And even if the laws are different in a foreign country, when something is right and when something is wrong. And I think a lot of these people just think they're not going to get caught, and whatnot. And Wander Franco could have ended up being potentially, if that didn't happen, potentially, if he would have had, good years, year in and year out, maybe he would have been a borderline Hall of Fame candidate at the end of his career, or just being really known as a really good player, but now, career pretty much over, based on that. So what a wasted talent, to try to, hook up with an underage individual, sad. But, Franco had the tools, to be a top 10, top 15 player, 100%. Had a lot of potential and had a lot of, upside, a very high ceiling for sure. Two-one pitch to Andujar in there for a strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Miguel Andujar from Bizzardo. Chopper. Bliss, throw to first, 2 away. I mean, all I do is read. I read more than most, and I read and watch film, and then when I do a channel, I have to be an expert or try to be an expert like on every fucking team. So you can imagine how much effort that takes to do MLB, NFL, college football, NBA, NHL, WWE, NASCAR. Like, it takes a lot of effort to be able to, have the knowledge and to be able to retain the knowledge and to be able to understand, what's going on with not only your favorite team, but every fucking team. And it can get challenging at times, but I mean, this is something that has been a part of my life even when I was little, looking at the stats on baseball cards, basketball cards, football cards, NHL cards when I was a kid, and, and memorizing the stats, and, fast forward many years later, here I am. Top of the 8th, 4-2 A's, 2 outs, runner at second, and Seth Brown in the box. Takes a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike to Seth Brown. 1-1 pitch. A little dribbler towards first. Foul. Longer lifespan, probably corner, if we're being honest. Because again, it's a lot of backpedaling, but when you're a wide receiver, you're doing more cuts, and you're trying to break the route, and you're trying to juke guys. So if you're playing wide receiver, you have a better chance of an Achilles tear, ACL, MCL, PCL. And yes, you could have those things happen at corner also, but I think corner would give him more longevity and whatnot. But again, like a guy like Christian Gonzalez from the Ducks, we already knew that he would be good for the Pats. And again, he ended up having a season-ending injury. But again, he shows the skill set that he could be a top 10 corner for many years to come, and then maybe even get into that top 5 conversation. Popped up, and Randy's in the outfield, and we get out of the top of the 8th. Let's go to the bottom of the 8th and see if we have anything left. We need to get 1 run here and then 1 in the 9th. Unless we're lucky enough to get 2 or 3 in this inning, but don't hold your breath. All right, let's see who's up next here. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 1 with a K, catcher Mitch Garver. Batting second, 1 for 3 with an RBI and a K, third baseman Jorge Polanco. And batting third in the inning, second baseman 0 for 0 with a base on ball, Dylan Moore. Come on, baby. Come on, Mariners. But if the Titans were smart, they would pass on Cam Ward, even though he is a prospect and he looks like he could be the best quarterback of this particular draft class, which isn't saying a lot. If Cam Ward was in last year's draft, where would he be? You have to ask yourself that question. And if Cam Ward was in next year's draft, where would he be? With those quarterbacks. But again, if you end up passing the Titans, on Abdul Carter, that's like passing on the freak, Devon Kearse. Do you really want to pass up on a guy that could be like a Pro Bowl, All-Pro, or potentially Hall of Fame player for a quarterback that might be the best quarterback in college now? But if you have shitty coaching, shitty supporting cast, shitty culture, do you really think that that's the guy that you're going to have for 10 years? Or is it going to be like, not as bad as like a Malik Willis story, but they definitely have been missing on a lot of their picks, offensively. They thought Trayvon Burks was going to be the next A.J. Brown. How well has that worked out? Not very. A.J. Browns don't grow on trees. And the AL Platinum Glove bobblehead for Cal Raleigh, I need that. Against the Astros, 3-day giveaway. Oh, baby. Mitch Garver with ball 1. 1-0 count to Garv. Let's go, Garv. We need a hero. We've had Randy be a hero, Polo be a hero. What about you, Garv? Big swing and a miss. Ferguson on the mound. Garver in the box. 48 games for Tyler Ferguson, 3.68 ERA, 62 Ks, 26 walks. So, he is prone to some walks here and there. We just have to be smart in the box here in the bottom of the 8th in this sprint to get 2 runs to tie it up. Pitches inside. 2 balls and 1 strike to Mitch Garver. And we got Brian Wu on the mound tomorrow, which I feel that we are going to win tomorrow. But again, the story about today, we have a split 2-2. Not exactly what we were thinking going into the year. But like I mentioned before the season started, what did I say? I thought that the A's and the Red Sox would surprise this year. And, and again, I don't think it's not just, against the Mariners. I think the A's will surprise against other teams as well. And it's not just Lawrence Butler and Brett Rooker I'm talking about. It's the team collectively. They're not going to let leaving Oakland damper their season. Garver popped up. One away. Next up for the Mariners, third baseman Jorge Polanco, 1 for 3 with an RBI and a K. And if there was a moment that we needed Polo to step up, Trident's up, it's right fucking now. Come on, baby. Bring that electricity, baby. Come on, Polo. And I like Cam Ward a lot. I just don't want him to go to, a bad team. But again, when you're, one of the best players, what are the teams at the top of the board? Bad teams, right? So, but I don't think the culture is very good there in Tennessee. I mean, it's not the worst culture. I could name a couple of teams off the top of my head that have worse culture than them, like the Cleveland Browns. But, But if Genty ends up going to the Raiders, you watch out. They're building something special there. I like what they're doing. Heat and Chip are going to turn that bitch around. It might take a couple years, but, again, we know how good the Broncos have gotten with Peyton and Harbaugh with the Chargers. But give it a couple years, and Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly will have the Raiders, sitting around 9 or 10 wins. They're not sitting at 13 or 12, but, 10 and 7 is, realistic. And at some point, they're going to get to that number, and, that might be good enough for a wild card spot. And especially if they get Genty, in the draft, that could be huge. Anyone that's seen him work out, I mean, the guy looks like he's a fucking UFC fighter. He's ridiculous. I mean, you thought A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf looked buff with no shirt on, working out. Genty is ridiculously, he is just toned, and again, he really cares about diet, working out, and obviously watching tape. He is going to be very successful in the NFL. It would be a perfect fit for him on the Raiders. Bottom of the 8th, 4-2 A's. Nobody on with 1 out. 2-2 count. Pitch is outside. Count now is full to Polo. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Where are we at on the likes? Are we getting close to 50? Big swing and a miss. Down goes Polo. 2 away. Next up for the Mariners, in the bottom of the 8th, 0 for 0 with a base on the ball, Emo Dylan Moore. Oh, yeah. John should have been fired a long, long time ago. And again, if you don't know how to be able to evaluate offensive line, and you're not working on the defense, obviously each year, when you start not recognizing the talent and you see other guys hitting on their picks and whatnot, it definitely feels like, they're kind of going backwards now, and it feels like it's going to be pretty rough, and they may surprise, and they may end up winning a couple more games than people think. But, if you're looking at what the Raiders have with Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll and how the Seahawks are sitting now, it kind of feels like the Raiders are kind of going in one direction and the Seahawks are going in another, unless they can get to a point where they start hitting on the offensive line picks, which they really have never been good at. And then the defense needs the right type of players there as well. So, and I imagine at some point Hawk fans are going to be thinking, when they get, a bad game, by Sam Darnold seeing ghosts with no offensive line production and no Lockett and DK, people are going to be, all those people that were hating on Geno, they're going to be like, fuck, I wish Geno was still here. I wish DK and Lockett were still here. And I imagine some fans are going to be saying that, a few times, throughout the year, and it's not like Sam Darnold is bad, but to me, that's a kind of a downgrade to Geno, if I'm being honest. And then especially if you don't have, offensive line protection, it's not like you're going to have the same Sam Darnold that had the top 3 Vikings defense and then a really good offensive structure with Kevin O'Connell. This is a totally different team with a totally different supporting cast. So, yeah, I wish the best. for the Hawks, but it definitely feels like it could be rough for a couple years. Just being honest. And then, making certain decisions by other guys in management and bringing those guys in. Again, you're always going to be judged, based on what, the guys at the top do. And I wish the best for them, but could be pretty rough. Pitches outside, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Dylan Moe. Demo on the chalk, but they call it foul. Fuck, that's what we needed. Damn it. Yeah, but it's going to be kind of an interesting vibe when all those haters that were talking how shitty Geno was, he put up great stats with a terrible offensive line, bottom 2 in the NFL. What do you think Sam Darnold's going to do if he doesn't have protection? You're not going to get the same Sam Darnold that you saw in the Vikings. You're going to get the Sam Darnold that was on the fucking Jets seeing ghosts. He'll make plays from time to time, but if you don't have DK there, no Lockett, you can't bank on Kenneth Walker III staying healthy for the whole year. I mean, it could be a little sus, but I wish them the best. But, same thing with the Niners and the Cardinals. Seems like it could be it's the Rams division to lose now. And down goes Dylan Moore. End of the 8th inning, 4-2 A's. I mean, I just call a spade, And any photos that I can pull up, once we get a little bit further out here, I will. End of the 8th inning, 4-2 Athletics. Let's go to the top of the 9th. Let's see who's up next here for the A's. Next up for the Athletics, 1 for 3 and a K, Max Muncy. Batting second, 1 for 3 with a run, shortstop Jacob Wilson. And batting third, 0 for 3 with a base on ball, right fielder Lawrence Butler. And if you're not familiar with the face, this isn't the Max Muncy that was on the Dodgers. This is just a young and up-and-coming prospect for the Athletics, just coincidentally with the same name. I know some people are really good with faces and names, and others just look at the name and they don't know what Max Muncy looks like but on the Dodgers, but that's not him. And we still got Bizzardo out there, or are we going to make a change? Miller, Snyder, Spire, Bizzardo. Golly. Gotta win. Gotta win today, but we really gotta win tomorrow with Woo. Oh, I know. I watched, brother. I don't know if you realize, the amount of sports that I fucking watch, dude. When it's college football season, I probably watch, on a Saturday and a Sunday, with stuff recorded, probably 3 to 5 full games every week in college football. Sometimes more. Some on the DVR if I don't have time to watch what I'm watching, and that's not including Ducks, for my main team. And then on the NFL side, I'm probably watching a minimum obviously Thursday night football is a given, Monday night football is a given, and then I'm trying to watch probably at least 3 full games on Sunday, sometimes 4 or 5, if I have to record some or, wait till later. So, nothing really is going to slip through the cracks with me, when it comes to sports. Top of the 9th, 4-2 A's, 1-2 count to Max Muncy. Yeah, but Captain, you already goddamn well know John ain't getting fired. If you're got that relationship with the owner, and again, if they haven't done it yet, they're not going to do it. They would rather get rid of the head coach first before they get rid of the GM. The head coach is the guy that ends up being the one that that gets the short end of the stick 9 times out of 10. Even if you feel that the GM is more deserving of being fired, they just won't do it. Because in an owner's eyes, it's harder to get a good GM, if they think he's good, compared to getting another coach. GMs are not floating around everywhere. 0-1 pitch to Jacob Wilson in there for a strike, behind in the count 0-2. Pitch is low and outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Bizzardo to Wilson. I mean, a little bit of a underwhelming performance, here today. But again, it all started with that bases loaded, no outs, and we didn't get anything. We really could have gotten 1 or 2 runs in that first inning, and maybe the score is tied up right now. You have to take advantage of opportunities like that. Wilson, Julio's there. No fly zone, 2 away. Next up is right fielder Lawrence Butler. Gracing the thumb again. Well, Captain, you already know it's going to be a bad season. Don't kid yourself. I mean, I think some people are optimistic, but again, Cardinals aren't going to be good. The Niners are rebuilding. The Hawks are rebuilding. I mean, like I said, the Rams are going to be good. The Rams are going to win the division, more than likely, unless they end up having serious injuries to all their good players, like Kyron Williams and Puka and Devontae and Stafford and, Jared Verse. But again, there's one team that's got, the right type of, pieces in the puzzle. And again, the Niners run is starting to end, and they're going to have to kind of retool and rebuild. Same thing with the Hawks, and then, the Cardinals are always bad. So, but we'll see how it goes. Top of the 9th, 4-2 A's. Runner at first with 2 outs. 0-1 pitch to Brent Rooker. Throw to first, safe. Yeah, and I feel bad for everyone that has to deal, with a bad owner, a bad head coach, a bad GM, bad players. It stinks to have, bad ownership or bad management. It kills it, for the aura and the vibe of the team. If you have great owners and great management, it doesn't matter who your players are. They're going to play well, for that type of owner and that type of, GM, rather than having, good players or elite players with terrible management, terrible coaching, and a terrible owner. You're only going to go so far with it. Even if the players are talented, but if they don't have the right mentors and they don't have the right leadership and the right aura, the right vibe, the right culture, it's not going to pan out to anything. And I don't think people realize that, how important, the top of the food chain is. I mean, luckily, being a Buccaneer fan, I don't have those problems like some of you guys do, thank God. But again, at some point, will I have those problems? Probably, but I hope for, not in the foreseeable future, though. But I'll tell you what, we got one of the best GMs in the NFL, top 2. Yeah, but it was good for Pete to be able to find another place, to be able to shine, and now he and Chip can kind of build something there. Because it never was going to work with Pete there, again, and let's be honest, Pete is a really good, player to player, guy that cares. But as far as evaluating talent, especially on the offensive line, he wasn't good. He was a good motivator. He cares about family and players. But one thing that he wasn't good at was evaluating, drafting players. He wasn't good at it. Because again, if he was, they would have been able to build that offensive line a hell of a lot sooner instead of ignoring the position after the Legion of Boom broke up. So sometimes you can be good at one thing like a head coach and being a leader, but maybe you're not a good play caller, or maybe you're a good play caller, but you're not a good leader as a head coach. Sometimes, you just have to find your role at what you're good at. But having Chip there and the right people around Pete, he has the ability to succeed with the Raiders. It might take a couple years, but you can kind of see the trajectory, like they're going up, And if he was in Seattle, you're not doing this. You're doing this or doing this. So fucking A, man. I don't know. It's going to be a sad day because, Evans and Godwin are our two best receivers that we've ever had. And I really like what we got out of McMillan from the Huskies. And then you got Bucky Irving and Rashad White, Baker Mayfield, great offensive line with Tristan Wirfs. Levante David's career is almost over as well. Antoine Winfield Jr., Garrett, we got Barton. So it's like we got a lot of pieces. And again, we hit on our drafts. And the main thing that really separates the Buccaneers from a lot of the other teams is that we let our players know that we appreciate them and they stay. We don't have to try to find guys in free agency. We just take care of our own. And, it's a rare thing. We want them back. They want to stay. We can work out the money and we have a good thing going. And, a part of that was, obviously Tom Brady changing the culture, but even before that, we won a Super Bowl, in 2002 over the Raiders with Sapp and Simeon Rice, Derek Brooks, Rondé Barber, John Lynch, Mike Allstott. No team will ever be like that. That was the best team we ever had. And I was really happy with what we were able to get with Brady and Gronk. And it still seems like a fantasy or a dream, even fly like a butterfly, sting like AB before that CTE kicked in. He helped us win a Super Bowl, Antonio Brown, but having Brady and Gronk kind of change the culture was huge. And I feel that anyone that was doubting Jason Licht as being one of the top 3 GMs understands now like how really solid he is. Howie for Philadelphia is number 1. But I would put Jason number 2 in the NFL if you're looking at what they do year in and year out, in my opinion. Bottom of the 9th, 4-2 A's. Next up is Ryan Bliss. Big swing and a miss, and down goes Bliss, 1 away. Next up, 0 for 2 with a base on ball and a K in the bottom of the 9th with 1 out, J.P. Crawford. Yeah, for Pittsburgh, it feels like it's going to be, what options do they have now, with other guys signing, So it's like they have Aaron Rodgers floating, but again, he's going to negotiate and want money, and he has too much of a, negative aura and vibe, and he just can't play anymore. So if you're Pittsburgh, you probably would be better off trying to get Jackson Dart or Shadur Sanders on that team, but we'll see, money talks. And we'll see where it goes. But even if they do get Aaron, it's not going to be long term, And again, the chances of Aaron playing a full season is pretty rare. He's not going to be good. It's like pretty much what you're going to get with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. You're going to get the same kind of thing with Rodgers, where you'll flash a little, but most of the time it's going to be below average play. And the Steelers, if the defense can stay healthy, maybe you can, get to 9-8. And, that way you can help Tomlin continue to be above 500 and have winning seasons. But I don't think anyone expects anything. Like if they overachieve with Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh, the most they could get is 10 wins. And that's being generous, but if they have injuries, it could end up being a, 6 to 9 win season. And I think that's pretty realistic. Popped up. Butler charging, drops the ball. Nice diving attempt by Butler, and JP is safe. But again, if I was a Pittsburgh fan, I wouldn't want Aaron Rodgers. Give me Shadur Sanders or preferably Jackson Dart, Next up for the Mariners, 1 for 3 with a K, Victor Robles. I wonder if he'll drop a bunt down. Yeah, Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson, that's terrible. You know, even with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, that wasn't good enough. Shows you Big Ben don't draw, they don't grow on trees, And Robles almost gets hit again. Boo! Too bad they don't have a guy like Cordell Stewart available. He was ahead of his time. But I guess you could say Cordell Stewart could be like Shedeur Sanders. That could be kind of the equivalent, You're going to get some good, some bad, but I don't know. I feel like, Shedeur Sanders wouldn't be a good fit in Pittsburgh because he's too much of a selfish guy. He's more of a me guy than a team guy, and then you get one immature quarterback and then you get an immature wide receiver. Shedeur Sanders and George Pickens, I don't know if that would work. There would be some highlight plays, but what happens when George Pickens doesn't get the ball and starts screaming at Shedeur Sanders on the sideline? Having two immature players at important positions wouldn't be ideal. One-two pitch. And a big swing and a miss. Down goes Robles. All right, we're down to our final out with a runner at first, J.P. Crawford. Could you be a fucking hero? Center fielder, Julio Rodriguez. Trident's up. Let's go. Last chance. And the chance of him hitting a homer here, realistically, probably like 5 to 10%. But you never know. And Julio strikes out looking, and that is the end of the game. Holy hell. Oh, man. Tough. But like I mentioned, I told y'all the A's are going to be better this year. I feel like them and the Red Sox are going to surprise a hell of a lot of people. But again, winning game one, imagine if we lost game one and we start off the season 0-3. So thank God for Randy Arozarena and Jorge Polanco for, getting those clutch homers in the 8th in game number one, because, losing 7-0 yesterday was embarrassing. Losing 4-2 today sucks, but we're going to get the win tomorrow with Brian Wu. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, and they're not a 75-win team. Get the fuck out of here with that. And comparing us to the Yankees is asinine. Well, I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys so much, especially for the people that are not giving up on the Mariners already. Silly to say that they're going to win 75 games. Ridiculous. All right, the season is very early. It's a 162-game season, not an 80-game season. Be real. Final score, A's 4, Mariners 2, and I will be live tomorrow at 1 for the Mariners and the A's, obviously, in the last matchup in this particular battle with the Athletics. Brian Wu will be on the mound, and I feel that we can win that tomorrow. And we also will be doing coverage of the NASCAR Cup Series at Martinsville, and that will start at noon, but I will be live at 1, and I'll cover both events. So I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. And I got one question for you. Who talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Shout out to Captain, Reflect, Megan. Appreciate you guys very much, as well as Sarah and a few others for helping out. Natman, congratulations on Auburn. Good luck tomorrow. And I am out. Gang. Go Mariners. Gang.